Gotta keep that in mind as we navigate the tubes. Just waiting for confirmation that our live is good to go. I was just talking to Delaney about a discussion I was having on Twitter. 'Cause as we set the windows up and everything, I noticed I had notifications on Twitter. There was a discussion about, it's actually on Scott. I was replying to Scott Adams, and he has a very kind of strange viewpoint to me regarding the national COVID response, because the COVID, in his eyes, he sees people suggesting like the Great Reset and how the COVID response is being manipulated for certain people's incentives and whatnot,
and for gain,
political power, stuff like that. People suggest that to him, and he just thinks it's crazy.
Really?
So he was responding to somebody saying that
he's usually so rational. So
well, that's the thing. That's why it was an interesting discussion, because also, and this is the same guy. Remember, this is my argument that I was giving to him, that he acknowledges that the election, which is probably the most sacred thing that we do in this entire country, right, should have the highest level of security, the highest level of scrutiny, he acknowledges that the elections are fortified, or just, to use a different word for it, manipulated. We'll just use manipulated.
Yes.
We're not talking about fraud here. We're just talking about manipulation behind the scenes, right? So he acknowledges that the most important thing that we do as a country has been manipulated and is manipulated.
And it's pretty easily to manipulate.
But then at the same time, he says that claiming that our COVID response is manipulated at all is baloney.
I know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, Scott. You're normally so like logical and can see reason and can just kind of use deductive reasoning to go, okay, whatever is the most plausible answer is probably the right answer. And he's out here being like, oh, it's plausible, but no, that's not happening. There's something going on. Scott Adams is in on it.
maybe he is. He's a what do they call it? A double agent or
maybe
agent provocateur.
Or maybe he's just like, yo, I'm just trying to think like positive.
Well, that's exactly what my explanation was. On people were responding to me saying, "Oh, he's a shill," and this and that.
Like, shill. Maybe he's just trying to see the light.
His role that he's chosen to take is the optimist in all situations. So anytime there's an opportunity for cynicism or pessimism, where you think, "Oh yeah, no, COVID is all being manipulated" and stuff like that, he is inclined to say no, unless, like with the case of the election, there's some hardcore proof where you can no longer deny it.
Yeah.
So that's where he's at on that.
What's up, everybody in the chat?
What do you got? Mitch, Connor, Stalking Horse, Anthony, Holly, and probably 2 million other people in chat.
Yeah, Stalking Horse. We always believe cartoonists because cartoonists have always been correct. Just look at South Park.
Well, the reason I keep bringing up Scott Adams in the stream is because he's one of the few guys that kind of can be in the same space as an alt-centrist, looking at things objectively.
Yeah.
So
looking at things rationally and logically and coming up with like the simplest solution.
For the most part. But I do have some theories about Scott Adams that I may not be as positive, because I do think he's trying to hypnotize his audience in a way that he's not telling everyone.
Maybe.
But maybe we'll get into that in today's show.
Them cartoonists, they got a way of hypnotizing us all and getting the messages across in a very subtle way.
That's the trick, is you trick everyone to thinking like Trump's trick. Trump tricked everyone into thinking he's stupid. Yeah. Scott Adams tricking everyone into thinking he's just a cartoonist.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's
pulling strings behind the scenes.
Exactly. What's up, Athenian Secret in chat, guys? Hope you are having a great night. You are now listening to the Saturday night edition of the Weekly Narrative.
Sorry, folks, that was like a little extra long intro from us of just bantering.
We're just trying to do a natural intro, because we were continuing a conversation that we were having from before. So it's better than, I don't know. We got to let people come into the stadium. The seats are open. People getting the hot dogs and the Cokes and the beers.
And the peanuts. They're getting peanuts thrown at them, of course.
As you're filling your seats, let me go over the list of topics for you guys today. Very intriguing. I'm going to have fun with this one. We have a new concept, the idea of a BlueAnon, which is the counter to the QAnon, because we all know the leftists love to spread conspiracy theories of their own. Oh, yeah. And we need to use rules for radicals, hold them accountable to their own rules, use their own techniques against them. And this is we're going to explore the feasibility of BlueAnon.
Okay, we'll go over that. Sounds good.
We're going to look at the Tom Cruise deepfakes,
Oh.
which have been making a lot of splash lately in the media. I don't know if the Tom Cruise deepfakes were prominent enough to make it to mainstream media. So if you're not plugged into Twitter and whatnot, maybe you didn't see this, but it's going to blow your mind. I can guarantee that. And there's a bigger discussion around deepfakes that I would like to get into as well.
Okay.
So we're going to use the Tom Cruise thing as a jumping off point for the deepfake conversation.
Okay, cool.
We're going to talk about Google's algorithmic fairness. I know what you're thinking, what the hell is algorithmic fairness?
Yeah, I was gonna say my dumb girl brain can't wrap my head around it.
We've talked about this a little bit before, but this is Google's idea of making sure the search results are equal and they provide equitable results. So that when you search for something,
okay.
they want to make sure you get what they think you want.
Oh, what they think I want.
What they think you should be looking at.
What they think I should be looking at and consuming and believing is true.
Yep, and we're going to play a little game with the chat where they're going to provide topics for us, and then we're going to go live and we're going to do a comparison of Google versus DuckDuckGo for the results to see if there's any legs to this argument that Google is algorithmically tinting their search results.
Okay, cool.
And I'm going to call that game the Just Duck It.
Just Duck It.
Yep. Title for that is working, but
that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's my rough draft.
Just Duck It.
There you go. We already got a song for it and everything.
Got to come up with the beat, Jeremy.
Rampant shoplifting forces 10 more Bay Area Walgreens stores to close. We'll talk about that. I mean,
little local news,
we've talked about
somewhat
that
local.
happening before, and there's a bigger conversation around that goes into the whole racism thing.
Oh.
So we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
This is going to be the funnest one for me because I love talking about fat people. There was a new study that just came out that shows that 90% of COVID deaths occur in countries with high obesity levels.
Shocker.
So we're going to dig back into my tweets, my public records, and see how far back I predicted that all the deaths or most of the deaths are just because of fat people.
Yeah.
And see if there's any truth to my predictions there.
Okay.
And also we get to, fat shame and stuff like that.
Yeah, we get to fat shame, which is always fun. It's always fun, like, talking shit about fatties.
Guys, if you're a little overweight, we're just realize we're kidding, okay?
Yeah, just realize that
if you're
we're kidding.
If you're in this chat, you probably have thick skin anyway. So.
Yeah, and also, like, if you can't handle us calling you fat, then maybe you need to lose some weight and gain some thick skin.
We're gonna do there's a story about Democrats voting to ban voter ID nationwide.
Oh, okay.
So there's I'm gonna ask you guys some questions about that. I want to see what you guys think.
Okay.
And then we're gonna talk about some other stuff that is also very interesting, but we'll leave it a mystery.
Yeah.
Leave you hanging to give some suspense.
Yeah, I mean,
because this intro has already gone on too long.
I was gonna say, even if we get to that, if we even get to that point of our later topics, let's see what we get to.
What's up, Tardo McGee? No, we don't have anyone to do stereo today. So the problem with stereo is that we need an external stereoer to stereo in with us, because we tried stereoing each other right here, but the phone picks up the audio from me and it just loops back and forth.
The mics are just too sensitive and are too damn good. They pick us both up.
So we may at some point do some kind of viewer stereo thing. If one of you guys want to do stereo for us,
some brave soul that
you
wants to join us.
don't even really have to talk. You just have to be an outlet for us to have the stereo thing open.
And just listen, and if you want to chime in and have a discussion, that'd be cool.
We're also thinking about doing stereo Saturdays, so we're not going to do in person on Saturdays anymore. We'll just have Delaney stay at home.
Yeah, because COVID.
And then we can do because we don't want to
we care so much about COVID.
Yeah, no, we really do. And because I think stereo does add a whole new dimension to the live stream.
Plus, Delaney doesn't like to not get out of her pajamas on Saturdays, so
true, she's lazy.
I could totally just want to stay in my pajamas for the stream. That would be nice.
All right, let's go. Let's get into it. on the air.
Oh, you should. Oh, that'd be so funny. They would laugh at me.
I just gave Delaney a little sip of my rum, and as you guys know, I like to drink just straight on the rocks. She didn't
tiniest
enjoy it
little
as much.
sip, and I'm disgusting.
Welcome back to the Weekly Narrative. I think this is episode number 45.
Dang.
Fascinating. Yeah, we have done at this point over 100 hours of live commentary podcasting together. It's quite the
Dang.
milestone.
Should get a plaque or something. Because
hard-
they're giving out plaques for everything nowadays.
Yeah, no, I'll just make my own.
Yeah, I was going to say, just make our own.
Tardo says, how did you get away with using that song anyway? Great question, Tardo McGee in chat. The answer is we don't. I get flagged every time I use it. Every time, after every stream, I go back to my desktop computer and I open up my email and it's like, you have a copyright claim.
And you're just like, yeah, I know. It's fine. That song is worth it.
These aren't really monetized anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm not here for the money. I'm here just to
Here to talk to y'all.
have the most awesome podcast possible, and the only way to do that is with the Pacific Rim theme song.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. That song is so good that we have to have it. Even if we get that copyright flag, let's take it. It's
That's right.
fine.
Now it's worth it.
It's totally worth it. Plus, we love pissing off the overlords. That's like it gives us life.
I just rewatched that movie again. That movie is so good.
It is. It's such a good movie.
So good. Let's jump into our first topic of the day. This is the idea, the concept, the counter narrative to QAnon called BlueAnon. So you guys know QAnon is the kind of right-wing, quote-unquote, conspiracy theorist group of people who, it's been all the news lately, if you watch mainstream media, has been nothing but QAnon shit. It's all about...
It's all about how the FBI are investigating all these alleged people that are involved in QAnon.
Yeah, the
and
February 6th thing or whatever.
the January 6th attack. And
thing.
supposedly there was supposed to be another attack on the 4th.
Right.
But that never happened.
So it's between then and now, it's been nothing but QAnon talk. Okay, so we, or some people on the right, I don't know who came up with this, Mr. Tibbs, submitted this to the, what is that? That's
Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary, yep. And Urban Dictionary is just kind of like a peer-to-peer dictionary where anyone can go and kind of update it. This is the definition of what they want to consider BlueAnon. Okay. So let's examine the feasibility of using this in culture.
Okay.
A loosely organized network of Democratic voters, politicians, and media personalities who spread left-wing conspiracy theories, such as the Russia hoax, the Jussie Smollett hoax, the Ukraine hoax, Covington Kids hoax, and the Brett Kavanaugh hoax.
Well, at least they're calling them all hoaxes because they all were.
Yeah, they definitely were. BlueAnon adherents fervently believe that right-wing extremists are going to storm Capitol Hill any day now and remove lawmakers, remove being in quotations, from office, hence the need for the deployment of thousands of National Guard stationed at the U.S. Capitol.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty relevant fear that it's going to get stormed again, but it was supposed to get, like I said, it was supposed to get stormed like 2 days ago, and that never happened.
Well, see, now, here's the thing. You got to remember, we are operating inside of, what is it, class? Bust out your notes and your crayons. From your notes from the last few shows, the 9/11 playbook. Okay, and what happens in the 9/11 playbook? The same thing that happened in 9/11. Oh, we got terror alert over here. We got to defend this.
Yeah, we've
We
got
gotta
to
shut
worry
down the
about all
stadium.
of these things that are going to get torn or going to get blown up.
This is just a continuation of that. And I saw
Like the hacker version.
people were asking on social media about when we're going to be removing the troops, because whether or not you agree with the definition of the BlueAnon or the potential use of that as a counter narrative, it does raise a good question, which is why the hell do we have thousands of troops guarding the Capitol with unscalable fences and barbed wire or razor wire, stuff like that, right? And the question was answered on Twitter by leftists in this manner. They said, once the threat of violence is gone, then we don't have to have them there anymore. What does that remind you of? Remember, in the context of the 9/11 playbook, what does that remind you of? Maybe you were a little too young back then. I can barely remember it. I was in like 7th grade. But
yeah, I was in like 5th grade.
Back in the 9/11 days, they had every single day. You turn on the TV, you look at the news, and you see
like terror threat level.
You see the terror threat level. Green to purple or whatever the hell it was, green to red.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And this is exactly what that is. They're saying now in a synonym version of that terror threat level, the threat for violence is high, which is equivalent to them saying the terror alert is red or orange, which is why they need to have so many troops at the Capitol. So anyway, I'm just pointing out we are still within the 9/11 playbook, and that's exactly what this is.
Well, it's funny because when they ask the question of like why, when people ask the question of why are there so many troops still at the Capitol, because there's the BlueAnon version of we need to have soldiers there to quell any potential, terroristic threat.
Mm-hmm.
And then the QAnon has an explanation for it as well. The QAnon explanation is that the inauguration was all staged. Like the reason it's all like locked off and like you can't go into certain areas is because they don't want people to see that what they're doing. And also too, apparently the military supposedly rescuing underground mutants that live in tunnels underneath Washington DC and stuff like that. Yeah, like the whole QAnon thing. Like I read into that and I was like, wow, they're getting really like crazy with it. But at the same time, like it's who's to say that they're wrong?
I like this. I think this is exactly what we need to be doing. We need to be fighting back with, and I think there's actually more substantial evidence for the usage of the BlueAnon term than there is for QAnon. Because QAnon, you have the Capitol insurrection thing, which is the biggest, most noteworthy thing that they can point to when they say, oh, QAnon.
Yeah.
But look at the list that BlueAnon already has under its belt. The Jussie Smollett hoax, the Russia hoax. That was a 4-year-long hoax, people.
The Ukraine
Countless
hoax.
hours of media coverage.
The Covington kids hoax.
Tried to ruin children's lives. There was like Reza Aslan or people on Twitter were saying, I want to punch that kid in the face, stuff like that, encouraging violence against kids. Brett Kavanaugh trying to ruin some guy's past over fake sexual harassment allegations.
A woman saying that like he gang raped her but doesn't remember where or when or who was involved.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
So I think there's more merit to having a BlueAnon term than there is having a QAnon term.
Oh, I love this BlueAnon.
Even
though
I think both BlueAnons and QAnons are retards.
Oh yeah, they're both fucking retards.
The BlueAnon is exactly what we need to be doing for anyone who perpetuates this.
Anybody that still brings up the Russia hoax, I'm gonna be like, you're a BlueAnon, aren't you?
So this is the way. Exactly. Now we've talked about what BlueAnon is. I think it's a good thing. I don't know. What does chat think? You think this is some kind of?
Holly asked in the chat, "Whatever happened to Anonymous? Do you remember Anonymous? Anonymous was left wing, wasn't it, or was it like?
No, Anonymous. It's not
I was
one
gonna say
person.
Anonymous turned into QAnon. How much you want to bet?
Anonymous is just kind of like Antifa.
Yeah.
Anyone who wanted to call them anonymous is anonymous, really, and it wasn't like one guy.
Yeah, I remember it was supposed to be a group of people, and I remember everybody like would watch and wait for Anonymous to drop his intel like on a certain day every single week, and then he just kind of stopped. So.
Well, again, it wasn't one person, but it was a group of hackers, hacktivists. So the way that we need to use BlueAnon is exactly like what you said. If somebody even mentions Covington kids or the anything about Russia, if anybody says even the word Russia, immediately counter with, "Oh, you're BlueAnon."
Oh, so you're BlueAnon. Yeah. I think that's great.
That's what you need to do.
And they also forgot the Bubba Watts hoax too.
Oh my God!
They forgot to add that one.
that one got kind of swept under the rug. I don't know
it did because everybody knew from like the minute that it was on the news that it was fucking fake.
Such a stretch.
It was such a stretch. They're like,
Bubba,
it's not a noose. It's not. It's the little thing that you pull your door down. Like, come on, bro.
Anyone who advocates for the continuation of the occupation of the Capitol need to call them BlueAnon. Everything. So that's.
I like it. I'm down. I'm down for this new term. Like, I love it. This is great.
Threat level. Yeah, nobody touches the topic of Anthony. The threat level is back. They just don't call it the threat level anymore. It's called the threat of violence, and it's an arbitrary measurement. There's no colors because. Colors are a little too complicated for the IQ level of the average citizen today.
Well, and plus, they're probably going to have that military force around the Capitol for 4 more years, because in their minds, all of the Trump supporters are just going to spend the next 4 years trying to work to remove Biden from office physically. When it's like, no, most people that are Trumpers that they accept the loss and they're just moving on their merry way. So.
I thought that was fun and interesting. A nice little advancement on the culture war there. Mm-hmm. Should have been called Donkanon. Donkanon. I don't know what does that mean, Donkanon?
I don't know what Donkanon is either. But.
Maybe keeping people in rather than out. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe they're trapping people inside.
Yeah, well, like I said, the QAnon side of it, because I've read into what they think is going on with the military force, and again, they think that the military is protecting these areas because they don't want people to see what's actually going on. They believe that the whole inauguration was like pre-recorded and pre-planned and wasn't even at where they said it was.
Jesus Christ.
They think the military's clearing out mutants that live underground and shit. Like, it's so funny. They're crazy as just
I
as.
am questioning your level of knowledge on this topic.
Only
but,
reason I like look into it because I just want to see what the craziness they're talking about. So, and I don't.
Donkey. Oh, Democrats. Okay, yeah, I got you. Donkey.
Okay, yeah.
See, even that's way too. If I didn't get it, that's way too high IQ for.
Yeah, Tardo. We're gonna go with BlueAnon. BlueAnon is a little bit
because it rhymes with QAnon. That's what you want to do. You want because QAnon, even just the sound of that coming out of your mouth has a negative association with whoever you spew that onto, right? And that's what you're trying to play off of. So the fact that it rhymes with QAnon is just so genius. It's the linguistic genius and the strategical genius of just the counter narrative.
Yep.
Rating terror threats with colors is racist. Oh, that's a great point, Dylan. That's probably why they got rid of that. We could start rating terror. Actually, they should. That'd be a great joke if they started rating terrorism threats from like black to white.
Oh.
Because all the terrorists are white now, right? So like, terror alerts light gray. That means we're getting really the white people.
The white people are getting in on it, but it's still mostly black people.
Yep.
Damn it! God damn it!
No, that's
we're so going to hell, but it's
Stalking
fine.
Horse says if you want us to get the troops out of Washington, we need to start a foreign war. Well, hey, that's what I've been saying, man. We need to start one.
Yeah, well, you just want a foreign war because you've invested in Lockheed Martin.
I already took my money out of them.
Oh, you already did? Okay.
No, with the whole GameStop stuff, I was playing the whole GameStop game and all that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have anything in. Although my Raytheon has gone up since then. So if you guys didn't follow my financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor, you may have made some money on that. Let's jump to the next topic here. This one is just as fun, if not more fun. If you guys are just listening, you have to watch the screen for like 5 minutes on this one, because this is Tom Cruise deepfake. Deepfake, for those who aren't aware, deepfake. It's one word, deepfake, meaning it's basically like a Photoshop but of a video. It's all it is a piece of software where you take a video of me. You can take a video of this podcast right now, and I can deepfake this later by putting Donald Trump's face on my face, for example. All you do is take a picture of someone's face, plug it into the algorithm, and it will paste it and turn it into a video version of whatever I'm doing right now. It'll match all the eye movements. It'll match the mouth movements. Everything.
You can do that on Snapchat.
Yeah, there's primitive versions of that technology already available.
Like shitty filter versions on Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that.
Yep. So this one got attention because it's really good. It's the best one that anyone's ever seen. And it's hilarious because the guy playing Tom Cruise actually acts exactly like Tom Cruise too. So it's not only the technology's impressive, but it's also hilarious because the guy acts exactly like Tom Cruise, and he has the perfect hair for it too. So one thing I want to point out is the deepfake doesn't do hair.
Yeah.
So he already had to cut his hair to look like Tom Cruise's hair. What you are about to see, ladies and gentlemen, is not Tom Cruise.
It is not. We repeat, not Tom Cruise.
Yeah, let me just make sure that this looks okay on the window over there. Good enough.
Good enough.
What's up, TikTok? You guys cool if I play some sports?
This guy's too tall to be Tom Cruise too.
Enough to break the ice.
See the mannerisms and everything?
Yeah, he's got
are
the
so good.
mannerisms. Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise is hilarious anyway. But I would recommend. Now, here's the point. Yeah, he's showing off because the technology, when you do something that moves in front of your face, like putting on glasses, which is what he's doing right here, that would normally mess up an average deepfake. But what he's doing is he's showing off by saying, hey, look
how good my deepfake is.
I can put on glasses and I can put on a hat, and you still can't even tell.
Yeah, he's...
And he like the fast movements far away from the camera, that stuff usually doesn't pick up very well on the deepfakes.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good camera. He's just really good at editing.
I recommend looking the videos up, the full videos themselves. See, that's not Tom Cruise, but it looks exactly like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it looks just like him.
So it sparks conversation around deepfakes, and people, there's kind of two well, not even two. I've only heard one real narrative on the deepfakes. Is that basically, oh my God, what are we gonna do when the deepfakes get so good that you can't even tell? Which is now where we are at. So you could take Joe Biden's face, Donald Trump's face, whoever, anyone, and make a video of them doing or saying or whatever you want. So that's got some people like, oh, what if somebody makes a deepfake of Donald Trump and says he's gonna bomb Afghanistan or whatever?
Well, he's not going to be able to do it now because he's not president.
Well, yeah, right. You get the point, though.
I get
right?
the
It's
point,
like,
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, even in the entertainment industry, when it comes to makeup and special effects, the makeup and special effects have gotten so good, too, that they have the ability to, like, make prosthetic faces that look very realistic as well. So if this technology side of it is this good, then damn, like, it's kind of scary a little bit. But, what's going to do this guy in is the fact that somebody's going to recognize that it's not real.
So for people in chat, I want to get a read of where you guys are at. On a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being I don't think it's really going to matter, and 10 being it's going to cause the end of the world, what do you think is going to be the societal impact of deepfakes? Let me get a rating in there. What do you think you'd put it at?
I don't know, maybe like a 5, just to be on the little bit more conservative side. Like, it's concerning, but I don't think it's gonna like end the world or anything like that. It's concerning because we already have enough problems as it is when it comes to manipulation and catfishing and stuff like that on the internet, and we already have, like, as the mainstream media would say, a misinformation problem. So imagine if
good point.
if somebody, like you said, does the deepfake account for Trump or Biden or some of these political leaders, and they have them saying or doing something, and people go and roll with that, and they believe that that's what's happening, and they'll take action doing. I say 5 just to be on the conservative side.
Well, here's just let me expand the scope of what we're talking about here. Let's say that somebody wanted to start a war, and they made a deepfake of, since we're already on the topic of the 9/11 playbook, Osama bin Laden.
Oh, yeah.
In the desert, saying "Death to America," or what if an attack happens, that's just a random attack, mass shooting, or whatever it was, and instead of Al Qaeda or the terrorist groups, ISIS, coming out and claiming credit for it, you have like the actual leader of the thing coming out and taking credit for it in a video, but it's not actually him. Somebody wants you to believe it is him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's domestic intelligence agencies, for example, that want to spark something. But there's a lot of potential uses for this.
Yeah, I think chat kind of agrees with you on that. A lot of people are giving a little bit of higher numbers than me. I think somebody in the chat did an 8 earlier up. 8.5 from Anthony, 8 from Secret,
6, 7.
6, 7, 5.
So above average. Above, I would say it's the a healthy level of concern about it, because most people are between like a 6 and a 9.
I only said 5 because I was just trying to be like conservative and not be like the total emotional woman that's like 10. We need to worry about this.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying is most people are at like a 10. Most people are like, oh my God, and I want to offer a counter narrative to that.
Yeah.
With maybe it's a bit of an oversimplification, but here's my kind of like what's a linguistic kill shot, if you will, for the whole deepfake crisis. Tell me, what is the difference between one photoshopped picture, which we can do right now? I can Photoshop a picture of Trump doing whatever I want, with Epstein, with kids, and it'll look completely perfect.
Yeah.
I can do that right now. So tell me, if that's not causing a crisis, what's the difference between a perfectly photoshopped picture and 30 perfectly photoshopped pictures per second? Because that's all a video is.
I was gonna say, yeah,
30 pictures per second. When I put it that way,
it could be potentially really bad.
Well, no, what I'm trying to say is that we already have the capability to put people in fake situations, like Donald Trump with Epstein or something like that. Donald Trump with kids.
Yeah,
Bill Clinton with kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can make some really bad looking pictures with Photoshop.
Yeah.
We can already do that.
So if we do that with video, then...
So if that's not causing a worldwide crisis where we're like, oh my God, look at this picture of whatever, we can kind of call it the Photoshops. We know when the Photoshops are happening. I think it's going to get to that point with the deepfakes too. Even though you can make a perfect video of Donald Trump or whoever it is doing something,
Mm-hmm.
anyone prominent doing something, it's not, I mean, we already have that. It's just
Yeah.
not in a moving picture version. That's why I'd make the delineation that Photoshop is one picture that's manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Video is just 30 pictures per second manipulated. It's no more credible anymore than a picture. So
Yeah.
we've had to adjust our credibility assertions with a video over pictures.
Yeah, a person in the chat says 6. It's gonna F with normies, but people believe fake crap now.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely mess with the normies. That's exactly right.
It'll definitely like mess with them a whole lot because
And Holly picked up on exactly what I was going to say before I said it. She said Photoshop documents were going to declare war. It didn't happen. Exactly. That's kind of the same argument that I'm going to make. So people are kind of the problem is they've been conditioned to catastrophize everything.
Yeah.
So anything new they're shown or anything new they consume, automatically they kind of all go to like the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
Whereas there are good implications of this technology.
totally.
You can make a movie now of like actors that aren't even alive anymore.
It's true.
All you have to do is have somebody that can do their voice really well, and you can have that guy up there again
It's true.
in the movies. Or if an actor doesn't even have to do acting anymore. Tom Cruise can just like loan out his face and sign the rights away to his face, and some guy like this guy could probably play Tom Cruise pretty well
Yeah.
when he can't do the stunts and stuff anymore, which he does right now, and just loan it out. Now you can have movies of anybody.
Man, to be an actor nowadays with all this technology, you don't even have to go freaking act
You
anymore.
don't
Just
have to leave your house. You just sign the rights
just
away
sign
to
away
your
the
face.
rights away to your face. Like, how much did you sell your face for, Tom? $50 billion.
I mean, we already know that video has lost. 2020 was the year that video lost all its credibility. No, between 2019 and 2020, video lost all credibility. I mean, Covington kids, George Floyd, the video lied to us. Video lies to us all the time. So we're already primed for this mindset of the video some people are. Some people are just believe anything they see. So like that guy said in chat, this will make the normies freak out to some degree when they see this kind of stuff. But
DeFrail Juice says, I was deep faked will become the new excuse like my Twitter was hacked.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
it's a potential.
that will happen eventually. It's
It's a
guaranteed.
potential for some possible like catfishing and stuff like that too. And I think Holly in the chat said that they're going to use it to just Photoshop their waist. The Instagram influencers are just going to use it to Photoshop their waist and make themselves look good again. So
Yeah, well, that's already happening.
that's already happening. They already put all kinds of filter on their crap to make you feel like shit about yourself.
The people that you see on the dating profiles are not the people you meet in real life.
Oh yeah, that is so true. Yeah,
Completely different.
yeah, that is so true. It's weird.
Oh, Dylan actually brings up a great point. Dylan Webb says, wasn't software created to filter it and just be another aspect of media narrating reality? Yes. So I forgot to talk about that. There are programs where you can feed a video in and it can detect deepfakes.
Okay.
Because there's certain artifacts in the video that, like I said,
Little hints.
the standard deepfakes aren't that good, so they're pretty easy to pick out. But to the untrained eye, they might fool some people. This one looks like Tom Cruise, like for real. This one fooled, I think, 2 out of the 3 detection programs.
Okay.
That
So he has some good shit going on.
so the detection program's got to step up the game if we want to be able to do what Dylan talks about, where you want to be able to verify that it's a deepfake. Because right now the technology is not that good.
Yeah.
The difference is a deepfake could be used like that in that documentary movie, Compliance, to manipulate people into blindly following a false figure of authority. It could be used like that, like in that documentary movie, Compliance. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. No, that's definitely true.
Well, I mean, they don't even need to do that to get people to comply anymore. So it's, yeah.
You don't. The problem is that you don't. It doesn't matter that 80% or 90% of the people realize it's a deepfake. Just like, if 80 or 90% of the people realize the Covington video was a hoax or the George Floyd thing, there's more than what you're seeing in the video.
Yeah.
Even if 90% of people realize that, it's still not enough.
Yeah, well, once that...
Because the 10% of the retards are they're loud retards.
They're loud retards, and they're just going to run with the narrative that they were given, even if the narrative or the video that they were given isn't the full truth. They're just, it's like the tale of like when you tell a lie, just telling a lie one time, it doesn't matter. It's like that one lie gets out and no matter how hard you try to put the toothpaste back in the tube, you can't do it. That's what like lying does. It's like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. Once it's out, you can't put it back in. So,
Speaking of toothpaste, because I don't have a better segue,
okay.
let's talk about Google's algorithmic fairness.
Okay. Yeah, sounds great.
We're gonna play a fun little game here on this one where
Just duck it.
not yet. Yep,
Oh.
that's right. The game's called Just Duck It. But let me go through first what the premise is. The premise is that Google is using social justice in its search algorithms to make sure that you get the results that you should see.
Oh, I should see.
Not the ones that you want to see,
Yeah.
the ones that they think you should see.
The ones they think I should see.
And yeah, this isn't just, I mean, there's been a lot of suspicion around this, the fact that this has been in place for a while because people have been comparing search results between Google and other engines, and it's been
Yeah.
pretty obvious that something's going on there.
Yeah.
But we've got actual potential, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but internal documentation from Google
Okay.
that's been circulated. And we're going to look at the definition of algorithmic unfairness and then look at what they plan to do with it.
Okay.
So, definition of algorithmic unfairness, last updated. This is from like 3 years ago, by the way. So this is, like we said, this has been in place for a while.
Okay.
These documents have just leaked now. This is from Google. Our goal is to create a company-wide definition of algorithmic unfairness that articulates the full range of algorithmic unfairness that can occur in products. Establishes a shared understanding of algorithmic unfairness in the development of measurement tools, product policy, et cetera, and algorithmic unfairness, here's the definition,
Okay.
means unjust or prejudicial treatment of people that is related to sensitive characteristics such as race, income, sexual orientation, or gender through algorithmic systems or algorithmically aided decision making. So any kind of, algorithm is the kind of mathematical formulas that are underlying everything you do on the internet for the most part. Whether you search for a product on Amazon, what is shown to you is based on an algorithm that knows what you want to see, what you should see, what you've
Yeah.
purchased in the past.
Knows what your price range is.
Yep, that too. It knows, well, if you're Facebook, you have information all the way down to Facebook knows when you use the bathroom, to put it plainly.
Wow.
Because, they know, like, if your phone activity, they know what sites you go to. They probably have information on where you are in your house. They collect all this kind of data that goes into the algorithm to feed you products. That also goes for the Google search.
Okay.
So when I search for something in Google, if I get in a result that's, according to their definition, prejudicial of people in a way that's related to their race, income, or sexual orientation, they want to fix that.
So they don't want you to see it.
Yes.
That's their way of fixing it, is by blocking it.
That's correct.
Or putting it at the very bottom of the results, so that way you're not going to scroll to the 100th page of Google. Oh, yeah, makes sense. Sounds great.
So,
I mean, it sounds like censorship to me, but some of a lot of people who are a little bit of the ninnies would love this. Sounds great.
well, here's a couple examples here. Autocomplete results for Trayvon Martin,
Oh goodness.
who was one of the guys that sparked the whole Black Lives Matter movement. In 2013, autocomplete results showed negative results for Trayvon Martin, for example, drug dealer, but more positive results for George Zimmerman, the cop who shot him,
Yeah.
for example, hero. So Google's noticed that results were showing things like drug dealer for Trayvon and then
Yeah.
hero for the cop, which is the exact opposite of the narrative that Google wants, right? They want the
Yeah.
cop to be the bad guy and the drug dealer to be the good guy.
Yeah, they want that kid that got shot by the evil white cop, even though he wasn't all the way white. They want him to be bastardized, not the kid that was doing something wrong.
They determined that was in scope for the algorithmic unfairness. So the system processed and showed offensive content from users in a way that could be seen to reinforce existing social biases regarding race.
Okay.
So that's just one example here. Let's scroll down to the frequently asked questions. Okay, here, let's see here. There was one section I wanted to cover. Here we go. If a representation is factually accurate, can it still be algorithmic unfairness? Answer, yes. For example, imagine that a Google image query for CEOs shows predominantly men. Even if this were fairly accurate representation of the world, it would be algorithmic unfairness because it would reinforce stereotypes about the role of women in leadership.
Wow. They're like, so even if there are things that are true, we're still going to show you stuff.
Reality is unfair.
Yeah, reality's unfair. We're going to show you things that's not true, just to like.
That's right.
Just to like give you that glimpse of like hope, I guess, in their mind.
So
That's
this
hilarious.
is what we're dealing with, and remember, these are the people that were recorded on video by saying that they want to use their power to make sure that the Donald Trump election didn't happen again, which didn't happen again, by
Yeah.
the way. So
It worked.
might be some influence by Google on that one. So
I'd say it worked.
let's I think it did work too. Let's play a little game here.
All right.
Play a game with chat called Just Duck It.
Just duck it.
We're gonna use this information, and we're not gonna take it at face value. We're gonna do a little bit of investigation on our own. So let's open up a new tab. What, did you see something good in chat?
Stalking Horse says Google sandwich maker. It's not
There
going
we
to
go.
show women.
No, that's good. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need chat to do. We need chat to provide us with subjects, topics, preferably controversial, that would have prejudices
Yeah.
associated with them. Provide us with a topic or two, and we're going to plug them into Google and then DuckDuckGo and look at the results live right now.
See what we get. Yeah,
Yep,
that'd be
so
great.
we'll start with Sandwich Maker. And then I'm gonna do one for white men.
Okay.
So let's do Sandwich Maker. And then
Just a bunch of freaking panini girls.
yeah, let me I'll switch over to the browser in a second here. Okay, so this one pretty much looks fairly benign. Yep, we got Google here with a bunch of
I mean, those technically are sandwich makers.
paninis.
Panini makers and
What are the text results here? Yeah, I know I'm using dark theme. Proctor, yeah, sandwich makers.
yeah,
okay.
they're all a bunch of panini makers, and you know, I mean that whole grill system looks nice. I might want it to make myself a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of advertisements for panini makers now.
You know, you are. You're gonna get all kinds of cues on a YouTube for the next videos. A bunch of sandwiches.
So, no pictures of women on that one, which I think was what he was going for.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go for like some sexist stuff, but
Let me give you an example of what I did earlier.
Okay.
This is white men.
okay.
We're just gonna Google white men and compare the results with DuckDuckGo. So we're gonna Google it and we're gonna duck it.
Okay.
White men. And let me zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so this is Google. We're going to go through the top 5 results here. First one says, I wanted to know what white men thought about their privilege.
Oh my God.
The second one is some African name, Ijulima Oluo, on why it's time for white male mediocrity to lose.
Oh wow. Okay.
Third one is the problem of surplus white men. Fourth one is why does the world reward mediocre white men? Fifth one, what's happening to failing white men? And if we go to the pictures, this is where it gets
I was
good.
gonna say pictures. I feel like is the best.
Let's jump
one.
over to the images. Yeah. Try it yourself. If you don't believe me, ladies and gentlemen, we just Googled white men.
That doesn't look like a white man.
And we went to the image search.
Why-
Okay, and we got results. The first one is an Indian woman.
The first line, the only person on that first line is a
only-
white dude.
yeah,
Is the last one.
There's only one white guy in the first line. There's Indian woman, a black dude, Don Lemon, another black dude, another black dude. Next row is a black dude, Donald Trump, Terry Gilliam, Mark Zuckerberg, and then some guy that's a white supremacist. So the reason why they're giving you these pictures is because, not because the pictures are relevant to what you're searching, but because the pictures are linked to articles that are social justice related. Look, if you look closely at the details, the article that this picture's from says, "Dear white men, we need you," which is, because
She's an Indian chick and she hates white dudes.
the second one, the picture of this black dude, is from an article entitled, "We saw white men protesting lockdown orders with loaded assault rifles."
So we decided to join in.
I wonder which way that article leans.
Right.
The next one, the third one, is CNN not commenting on Don Lemon's remark about white men. Fourth one is I had to submit to being exoticized by white women.
Wow.
White men aren't thrilled that when people of color become CEOs. Jesus Christ. The point is, and the only actual picture of a white guy in here that isn't like a celebrity is white man charged in Manchester racist attack used to slur against black police officer.
Wow.
So those are the Google results.
Okay.
Now, you won't understand how messed up that is until we look at an untarnished algorithm that provides results. So let's jump over to DuckDuckGo and give you what's going on over DuckDuckGo. So the text results. First one is Urban Dictionary, white men. Second one, are white men really the problem?
Okay.
Psychology Today. Third one, 9 things I learned from dating white guys. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Fourth one, how to show white men that diversity and inclusion efforts benefit them. I think is what that.
Probably something like that.
Need them. Fifth one, white males are the most hated group. See, that would never go on Google.
Yeah, that would never go on Google.
Fifth, and then we get normal neutral stuff like Amazon, white men's shoes. It's misreading my search term. It thinks that I want white shoes for men, but I'm actually searching for white men. Now let's go to the image results.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that. A bunch of white dudes.
Every single person on the page is white.
Huh, would you look at that?
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to. Yeah, no. There's a white guy with dreadlock.
Yeah.
So the results here are biases that benefit white men. White men should pay 5% more tax. 11 dreadlock hairstyles for men.
Wow. And they include a white dude on that? How racist.
Men fashion. Hot white guys. Successful white guy meme.
And then Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton.
But at least like they're all white dudes as opposed to Google where literally the first line there was only
they
one.
They are actually all white people. So when I mentioned a couple weeks ago on a stream that I have to look at other search engines for results that are actually accurate now, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The Google's not even accurate in their search. They're in their search for social justice, and this is the narrative of the whole social justice movement. The bigger picture is that as they push for more social justice, their real world utility plummets.
Yeah.
You're not useful anymore if you emphasize social justice. Your product's going to turn to shit.
Yeah.
I'm not using Google anymore because, I mean, look how terrible it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've stopped using Google recently as well just because I've noticed just from doing this stream with you how kind of tarnished Google is. And even when I go home and I just look up the news when I'm at home getting ready for this show, I just try to type in Google News and literally every single article in Google News is just a bunch of left-leaning slanted news networks that just aren't really reporting anything of note. It's sad. It really is.
No, you're right. Tardo said try mechanic, so we're doing that. I'm seeing some, everyone's working on cars.
Yeah.
All the pictures are blue for some reason. There's some females on Google. There's
one
female there, another female here. Oh, 3 females.
Okay.
In the first 3 lines.
How inclusive.
More females here. Yep. Let's jump over to DuckDuckGo. What's going on in DuckDuckGo? Dudes, all dudes.
All dudes.
All dudes.
A little bit more accurate.
Yep. No, there's not a single dude. Not a single chick on here.
Oh, there's one. There's one. I found one.
Yep.
Right in the middle.
6 lines down, there's one female. So there you go. It's a little. See, they're trying to pump in the algorithmic fairness, where like women can be mechanics too.
Well, yeah, they can, but don't make it to be like all mechanics are women, because we all know the truth that not all mechanics are women. And if your mechanic's a woman, then she shouldn't be your mechanic. I'm just kidding.
Okay, somebody suggested searching for "make me a sandwich" makes a much more hilarious example. We got memes on Google. Yeah, no, none of them are. Okay, so there's a woman slapping a man, telling him to make a sandwich.
Hell yeah.
But there's no females making sandwiches.
There's Batman slapping Robin saying, "Make me a sandwich."
Yeah, now let's jump over to DuckDuckGo. Here we got, we got memes that say, kid yelling at mom, "Make me a sandwich." A meme here says, "Get back in the kitchen." Okay, yeah, no, I could see, no, not as apparent on that one, but.
Stalking horse, yeah, I'm hella racist because I said slanted. Yep, totally. I'll wear that. I'll wear that card real good.
Google small hats. Okay, there's another one. Small hats. I mean, these are off the wall suggestions, but I'm willing to roll with them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Small hats. Is that for like a Jussie Smollett type thing?
Maybe.
Small hat. Okay. Bunch of small hats here. Yep. Nothing out of the ordinary. Black guy and a white guy. DuckDuckGo.
All women.
It is all women.
And then, yeah.
I don't know why they're trying to put small hats on guys over on Google.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, let's try something more along the line of what I was going for here. Let's do Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton on Google. We get our Twitter page. We get the Office of Hillary Clinton, Wikipedia, Facebook, standard stuff. Hillary Clinton. Oh, here we go. This is what we can do. Let's do the autofill.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton autofill. When you type in a word, it tries to autofill the rest of the thing for you on the search tool, right? To try and help you out. The autofill from DuckDuckGo, when I type in Hillary Clinton, is Hillary Clinton arrested 2021, Hillary
Right.
Clinton inauguration podcast, Benghazi. If I do it on Google, Hillary Clinton, nothing about Benghazi,
Nothing about anything with her politically, just her
Age.
age.
height, inauguration outfit.
Yeah, absolutely nothing about her politics.
And so, arrested 2021, that's the top one. But you guys get the point, right?
Yeah. Anthony says, "You're doing it. What have I done?" You sparked a genius in us, Anthony.
Hey, man, that's what
We
will-
said we were taking
Yeah,
it.
we're playing the game.
Yeah, we're playing a game. We're just duck it,
We're
man.
missing the religious implication of the small hats. Is there? Oh, I see. I get it. Jews.
Those aren't hats, though. Those
Small
are yarmulkes.
Yeah, they're small hats.
They are, but they're called yarmulkes.
Okay, so now I'm gonna look at these results again real quick. Are there any Jews on here? I don't
Not
see
seeing no
any.
yarmulkes.
No yarmulkes on Google. Small hats over here. Fedoras. No, I'm not seeing any either. Okay. All right. Well, you guys get the point. Google's algorithmic unfairness is definitely in place. I mean, if you can do the search for yourself, white men, all the search results will be for black dudes. Nobody knows why, how that works.
Because it's all these black people committing crimes, and because of all the crimes that white people have done to them. So that's how Google.
That's a stereotype.
That's what Google is saying to me. Like, we looked at all the articles that were on the Google research results for white men, and all of them were like a bunch of black dudes, and they're like, well, white people did this, so we can do that. So okay, sounds great.
Speaking of black people, our next article is directly related to that,
Hell
and I'm
yeah.
sure they wouldn't have many details on this on Google, but from Zero Hedge. Rampant shoplifting forces 10 Bay Area Walgreens to close.
Aw,
And this is right in line with the narrative that we love to talk about here. You guys know how the left loves to cry about racism and food supply. Like, there's no healthy food. There's
Yeah.
no supply of this and that in
Why
neighborhoods.
why aren't there Whole Foods and Nugget markets in the ghettos?
Yep, we talked about this before, and we referred to the fact that in California, at least, you're seeing this happen live, where because of the laws they passed, I think it was Prop 47. Somebody feel free to correct me on that one, but they
It's
basically
like 47 or 49 or something
the
like
gist
that.
of it is that they raised the minimum dollar value to be considered a misdemeanor, like $900.
Yeah,
so you have to
you-
steal 900. It's either 600 or 900. You have to steal that much to even have a misdemeanor.
Yep.
So what people are doing is they're literally walking into Walgreens with trash bags, and they're just filling it up with stuff and just walking right out.
Yep. And then if the workers try to do anything or say anything, the workers are in risk and jeopardy of getting their asses beat. And what's even worse is
Well,
they'll
fired at least.
fired. And what's worse is the people that are doing these crimes, they do it with like a huge herd of people. So imagine it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
20,
It's like a
20
flash mob.
and it's like a flash mob of like 20 behemoth women running in and like stealing makeup and stealing perfumes and stealing whatever they can get their hands on. And then they all just run out. They've been doing it to clothing stores too around the Bay Area as
Oh, yeah.
well. So it's yeah.
The effects of the virus pandemic and socioeconomic implosion that followed, compounded with failed liberal leadership, could soon transform San Francisco into an empty ghost town. Such is the case with the pharmacy giant Walgreens fleeing the metro area amid a rash of shoplifting. Since 2019, Walgreens has closed 10 stores in the city, with the latest store set to close later this month. The closure is the third since October 2020. According to Washington Examiner, the Walgreens at the corner of Bush and Larkin Streets posted a notification on the front window announcing the closure on March 17th.
It's racism, y'all.
It's racism to not provide these communities with pharmacies
Yep.
and medicine and food.
Yep.
which is what they say after. So 5 years from now, when they're looking at San Francisco and they're like, there's nowhere to get pharmaceuticals.
Well, there's just nowhere anywhere because everything's shut down.
That too.
And
But
all there is a bunch of bums and bum piss and bum shit everywhere.
yeah, so here's a nice video of customer seen jumping over the counter. Let's see what this has got going on here. Empty shelves in the Walgreens because they don't restock. This is from Inside Edition.
Why would they restock?
And shoplifting. And look at this. Just 15 minutes after an Inside Edition crew showed up at the drugstore, we found this guy jumping over the front counter, taking an airbed, and leaving the store on his scooter. No questions asked, no one stopping him.
That's not even his scooter. That's one of the ones that you rent.
He stole a scooter and then he scoots over to the Walgreens and he scoots.
No, he bought the scooter because you got to pay to use those things. You can't like scoot with those things if they're not powered on.
He just scoots away with the mattress.
Dude, that is. I would close my business down too if this shit was happening to me on the regular.
I mean, they don't make very big margins on that stuff anyway in like pharmacies because they're selling snacks and makeup and like Band-Aids and stuff.
And
so when you have people coming in and just stealing handfuls of stuff every single day, what do you expect?
they need to just suck it up and provide for the community, Jeremy. Otherwise, it's racist.
It's racist not to take massive losses on your income statements to continue to supply marginalized communities with medical products. Which is exactly the kind of BS that they would say.
Yeah, this is the kind of shit that they would say, and it's sad. Like these people.
Deepfake scooter.
Yeah. I just love that he just like scooted out and just walked away after jacking all that stuff. They don't even think twice about it.
Did you see how casual he was about the whole thing?
He just doesn't give a shit. He's just like, whatever.
That's what is happening. Okay, and if you could tell, he's clearly a white supremacist.
Yeah, he's totally a white supremacist.
Judging by his skin
he's
color.
doing it because of white supremacy.
As the crews they're filming, they see a guy. That's how often it happens. Okay, so this is a big problem.
You can't hotwire those scooters, Mitch. I've had friends that have like stolen them and tried. You cannot. Like, they have those things locked down tight. It's crazy.
Is he trying to get into the locked up cocoa butter lotion? Oh man, I wonder if Holly saw that on my Twitter. People on Twitter were crying because there's a picture. Somebody took a picture of like a Walmart shelf where they have like all the lotions. And the ones that the black people would buy, like the shea butter.
Yeah, and the cocoa butter.
Yeah, and the cocoa butter. They were in like the loss prevention packaging, like the plastic boxes. And the one right next to it, which is like the regular lotion.
Yeah, Jergens.
Just out right in the open. Nobody.
Yeah, well.
People were
racist.
So bad.
It's racist.
Well, see, this is the funny part. This is how much IQ is involved in these reactions. Because at that point, and this is what I said on Twitter too, is they're literally just arguing with the spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. They're arguing with numbers on a spreadsheet because that's all that is. When somebody steals something and they go through and do inventory and they notice that all the shea butter ones are missing, all the cocoa butter ones are missing, nobody is making any assumptions about anything there.
Yeah.
They're looking. This product is being flagged to be put in a security device
because it's being stolen.
Of the number of times that it's been stolen.
Yep.
Nobody's like, oh, make sure you lock up all the black people stuff.
Yeah, it's not about
Nobody's
race.
doing
It's about
that.
like what's getting stolen most predominantly.
It's
the same thing that happened when they had to lock up the baby formula. Everybody tried to be like, oh, it's because of all the black people that have to steal baby formula for their babies. It's like, no, it's just people in general stealing baby formula.
It's a great example of the clashing of reality with their delusions because that's reality. It's a spreadsheet, people. It's as unemotional and as real as it gets, and they're arguing that the spreadsheet is racist.
Dari says, they be ashy. Get the good stuff.
Dude, yeah, that video was amazing. The guy just scooting away.
I know,
That's what's happening all over San Francisco these days. They're just scooting out, scooting in with whatever they want. At one location, San Francisco Chronicle said it loses about $1,000 per day in merchandise because of shoplifting.
Damn.
$1,000 per day.
Yeah, and they wonder why you don't have Whole Foods in the ghettos. You wonder why all you see in the ghettos are a bunch of fast food and payday loan
convenience stores
with
metal bars on the windows.
And also, like, you see a lot of convenience stores, cigarette stores, massage parlors for some reason, and payday loan places.
Right.
Like, it's like these are the businesses that thrive in the ghettos, guys. Like, if you want businesses to thrive in the ghetto, stop stealing shit.
I just think it's beautiful that we're watching the narrative get destroyed in real time. Because the narrative is all about, oh, you're racist. You don't want to provide your marginalized communities with healthy food,
No,
and that's why all
just
the
don't
black.
want our shit to get stolen.
And here's a prediction. This is going to come up again because of the topic we're going to talk about next, which is obesity. Because guess what they tried to say about the COVID stuff and all the people dying? All the black people are dying more often than white people. So it's
It's
now that this study has come out that shows that obesity is what's killing people. They're going to pivot off that narrative. You're going to hear it again.
well, yeah, because don't you know black people suffer more from obesity?
Black people, well, they live in food deserts.
Oh, yeah,
So
because
you're gonna hear that term. You're gonna hear that
They
they don't
can't
have
even
You're gonna hear that they don't have access to healthy foods because they're gonna try to defend themselves for why black people are so obese.
even if they had access to healthy foods, they probably wouldn't be able to afford it anyways. So,
Well, that's the thing. That healthy food isn't actually that expensive.
I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, you could just grow it yourself if you really feel up to it.
I mean, that's expensive growing your
That's-
own food because it takes a lot of time and whatnot. But I'm saying it's not expensive to eat healthy, and that they'll use any number of excuses they can get, including the racism because you don't put a Whole Foods near me. And this
Well-
is that narrative being destroyed right there.
Anthony brings up a good point too. He says nobody's stealing condoms. Why would they? They don't need them.
People,
Father's Day cards don't get stolen. Damn, stalking horse.
Father's Day cards don't get stolen. Yes. That's the kind of
Oh,
content that I'm looking
goodness.
for.
Shea butter keeps me from getting dusty, as Delaney says. No, I get ashy, not
Veggies
dusty.
are racist. Whole Foods is not feasible in the low-income areas, theft being one of the main variants. Exactly. Sorry.
It's not even. It's just theft. It's like overall, like
People-
they can't afford those groceries. Like Whole Foods is expensive. It really is, but you get good shit there. That's the thing. You pay for what you get when you go to Whole Foods, and also too, their produce is awesome.
Nobody saw that.
Hopefully.
Tardo McGee says people are inherently good. That's why socialism works everywhere it's tried.
Yep, absolutely. Tardo, you're bringing out the hot takes right now.
So there you guys go. The absurdity they will, again, I'm telling you, because of what we're going to talk about next, you will hear that narrative. Okay, listen for that narrative. Black people don't have access to healthy food. And when you hear that, just think about the Scoots, okay? Scoots Matoots rolling out of here with a mattress just casually.
Yep.
He's happy because he's going to get, like, Serta sleep and all that.
Yep. Phil says work boots are never stolen.
All the jokes about
Oh
black
my
people.
goodness.
Yes.
Oh wow, we're definitely gonna get flagged as racist for this.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah, whatever.
We're about halfway through anyway, so it's good to give a little self-shilling here. And if you guys are enjoying what you're hearing, you can listen to the podcast. Available on all podcasting platforms.
We got Google, we
All
got
big ones
iTunes,
anyway.
we got Stitcher, all of
Let's
it.
get some engagement on the video. Get the likes up.
Yep.
I think,
Thumbs up, y'all. Thumbs up.
Yep, get the thumbs up.
Or thumbs down. We'll take a thumbs down too.
Because we're fighting algorithmic unfairness here. So there's an algorithmic modifier against me because I'm so white that it's actually downranking my channel.
A little bit.
So we have to at least break even with some likes, okay?
Anthony says downtown LA's Whole Foods is laughable. It's amazing. It's amazing but rough. Well,
I bet
anything
it-
in downtown LA is rough.
I bet that it has security guards.
Yeah, I bet you they do. I mean,
I never saw security guards in a grocery store until I moved to Sacramento.
Oh wow.
It's never been. I mean, well, see, that's shocking to you because you've lived in California your life. So you're like, oh, you'd never seen
I'm
security
just used
guards?
to security guards everywhere, honestly.
Yeah, because
everywhere you
it's 'cause you live
go,
in
there's like
California.
a security patrol that.
Never once in Arizona, never once in Michigan, anywhere else I've gone, Texas, no security guards in grocery stores.
Well, you don't need security guards in Texas because most people are usually packing some heat. So most,
Well,
not all.
I don't think people are willing to defend donuts with their lives, but
You'd be surprised.
these people would. 90% of COVID deaths occur in countries with high obesity levels,
Mm-hmm.
according to a new study.
Cool.
Shocker.
Shocker. Yeah, I was gonna say we were saying this like 8 months ago.
I did look back. I searched through all my tweets, and I was tweeting as early back as March. No, June. It was June that all the deaths are from fat people, and the reason why America has such a disproportionate death count is because of fat people.
I was gonna say we have a disproportionate amount of fatties in our country.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
We have the most fat people.
Yeah.
I think, well, not the most. I think Mexico's fatter, but
Yeah,
which
Mexico's
does
creeping up to
it
us.
shocks people. Nearly 90% of coronavirus fatalities have occurred in countries with high obesity levels, according to researchers who now want overweight people to be prioritized for vaccinations. Fatties ruining it all for us again.
Of course.
Think about this. If fat people weren't such a big problem in America, which I think it's like, what, 70% of people are overweight?
Yeah, something like that.
70 to 80%?
It's a huge number.
And in most states, it's about 30% of people, like 25 to 30% of people that are obese. If it wasn't for obese people, would we even have a pandemic?
Probably not. Or I mean, we still would have the pandemic, but I don't think there would be as nearly as many deaths or supposed like COVID deaths.
That's what I mean by pandemic. We'd still have a virus running
Yeah,
around.
we'd have
but
a
we
virus.
wouldn't have had to lock down because
we wouldn't have to wear face diapers just to like go from the restaurant, seating area to our table.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm trying to say is that if they didn't have the death counts to point to, would we have the lockdowns? Would we have our economy being destroyed? Would we have all this stuff happening?
No.
And would the death count be this high if it wasn't for the fat people?
I don't think so.
What I'm trying to say, folks, is that fat people ruined everything for us.
A little bit.
This is, well, we'll get more into it. Let's go over the rest of this article here. Death rates were 10 times higher in countries such as the U.S., where at least 50% of the total population is overweight. 10 times higher. Not 10%. 10 times.
Damn.
According to a World Health Organization-backed study released Thursday for the World Obesity Federation.
There's a whole federation for world obesity.
Apparently. It's new to me.
It's so needed that we have to have a federation.
The WOF. The WOF.
The WOF?
Because that's the sound you make when you're putting food in. WOF.
The Homer Simpson.
Exactly. This must act as a wake-up call to governments globally, said WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, don't even say it.
What is that? That's a badass name, though.
Where's our local Indian when we need him? I don't even know if that's Indian.
The correlation between obesity and mortality rates from COVID-19 is clear and compelling. This is from the WHO, people. So now, if anybody tries to say that, oh, it's not fat people. Fat is healthy. Fat is healthy.
Fat is normal.
Healthy at any size.
Oh, God.
Now you can say they're anti-science, and you can reference the WHO directly. This guy right here. The correlation between obesity and mortality rates from COVID-19 is clear and compelling. Game over.
Yeah.
Game over, folks. This is a pandemic for fatties only, not for skinny people.
Tardo says you have to be obese and over 80 to die from COVID.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. You got to have one or the other, or if you have both, then you're a recipe for disaster.
Chain-smoking obese alcoholics get the jab first. Yeah, see, now, thanks to the completely backwards priorities of our country, we're giving this life-saving vaccine to the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
of
people
the
that they need to be like thinned out a little bit.
We're at a point now. Okay,
Like literally thinned out.
now tell me, if everyone loves to say science this, science that. We love nature. We love the environment. So what is nature telling us about this whole big picture right now? Nature is telling us, by the death counts being higher for fat people, that these fat people are not really suited.
They're not. They're maladaptive.
They're maladapted. It's a great way. Now you're picking up on.
I am. I'm picking up on some of your lingo.
Perfect. That's exactly what they are. In an environment where they didn't have all the luxuries of modern life, would these fat people exist?
No.
If they had to flee from predators, if they had to hunt their own food,
they would get eaten really fast.
They would get eaten, or they wouldn't be fat in the first place because they'd have to actually work.
They'd have to work and like stay
and
fit.
they wouldn't have access to this.
They would constantly be on the move and constantly be doing something.
And they wouldn't have access to Snickers and high caloric density foods, so they wouldn't be fat in the first place. Nature is telling us something here, and that's what I'm saying. And in response to that, instead of saying, "Oh, nature is telling us something here," maybe we should, because the question I kept asking is, why hasn't Fauci come out once? And this is the question you should be asking yourself. And when you ask yourself this question and you realize the answer, you'll understand this whole thing is BS. The whole thing is BS.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard Fauci or any of these other experts come out and say the most important thing you could do is lose weight?
Yeah.
Zero.
No, he hasn't said that at all.
Nobody has ever suggested losing weight.
No, never.
In response to COVID.
Well, when it comes to like actually physically changing your personal dieting habits and exercise habits and actually taking accountability for your personal responsibility for your health, Fauci's just like, no, just put on a mask or take a vaccine. You'll be fine.
That's all they told you to do.
Yeah, that's it.
They
It's
never
like, don't
told
go
you to
outside and exercise and be in the sun, because the sun is the best disinfectant you could ever ask for. There's none of that. There's no like go to the gym. Like actually like don't lock down the gyms. Actually go to the gym and exercise and go to the good grocery store and get some good food and make your own food. Yeah.
It's even worse because we showed you already the cover of Cosmo from February.
Oh yeah. With that
Featured-
that fat bitch doing yoga.
Obese. Yeah, let me pull it up. I got it right here. It's on my
It's on his Twitter.
my Twitter media. Cosmo came out in February. I like to say it like that, February. Because there is an R in there. And said that this is healthy.
Oh god.
This is healthy, folks. This came out in February of this year. Cosmo is promoting the one thing that is going to get you killed by this virus. The only thing, aside from being over 80 years old, that's going to kill you. They're telling you that this is healthy. Not one health expert's coming out and said, nope, not that. That's not right. That's not real. You should be losing weight. No one has told you to lose weight throughout the entire pandemic. It's been over a year. Not one person has ever said to lose weight.
Nope.
That's how you know this whole thing is bullshit. The entire thing is bullshit.
Yep.
Even if normies like me knew that obesity was the reason people were dying 8 months ago, like we said, the experts should have been saying before that you need to lose weight.
Yeah. Or like don't lock down gyms. Actually go to the gym and exercise.
Yeah, that's a great point. Gym is, like someone said in chat, close the gym. It can't help you.
I mean, even if the gyms are closed, like go outside.
Close the gym, but left McDonald's open. Yes,
right?
exactly.
Even if the gyms are closed, go outside and take a 30-minute walk and get outside. Because again, the best disinfectant that you could ever have is right there for us. It's the sun. Go outside, enjoy the sun, be social. Like, yeah.
Fat people is a social construct.
In the words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
Oh man, but seriously, how we're beyond idiocracy.
Oh yeah, we've
This is beyond idiocracy. The movie Idiocracy, for those who don't know, was a movie about how like an absurd version of the future where everyone's just retarded and all the dumbest stuff possible is what actually manifests in society. We're beyond that. We've all known that fatties are the people that die to this. Every story that we've seen, remember we pulled up stories of like fat black nurses, and they have these sob stories about how they died in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, this is how the doctors are.
Yeah, they treated her worse because she's black.
Right, yeah. And then they have a picture of her and she's like morbidly obese.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, no, she died because of the racism.
Yeah.
She didn't die because she was obese.
She didn't die because she has diabetes and like all this other things going on.
Yeah.
No heart attack or nothing.
Absolutely absurd, and it's natural selection. That's what we're seeing. That's the point I was trying to get at with the whole nature thing. This is natural selection, and in response to that, we're not saying, oh yeah, let's acknowledge it. Maybe fat is not healthy. Maybe we should get Cosmo to like redo the cover that's probably actually killing people, telling them that being fat is healthy, actually killing people.
Yeah.
That's actually killing people. Maybe we should get them to reverse that. No one's thinking anything like that. No one's thinking that you should lose weight. Instead, we're doing what? We're furthering the levels of protection, the buffers. We'll call them buffers.
Yeah.
Furthering the buffers that protect you from dying because you're so fat.
Yeah.
Obese. So we're giving them the injection first. We're giving them the vaccine first.
You know what? I'm
so
all
that
for it.
they can continue to be fat and fight against everything in the universe that's trying to make them not be fat.
I want all of the COVID virus testing, I want it done on them first. So that way if any adverse effects happens, it like goes it goes to a fatty first. So
that's not a bad point. I like that. I'm gonna roll with that one.
King Xenomorph says, hey cool kids. What's up, King Xenomorph?
What up?
10 years of global warming left, TikTok.
9 years.
9 years. We're at 9 years now. Just
Yeah.
so you know, we covered that a few weeks ago in a stream. So
Yoga pants are a privilege, not a right.
oh God. Oh.
Yeah, no, that's become a.
Let me just tell you, like I'm a fan of yoga pants and other people, but when it's a fat chick with no ass in yoga pants, there's like nothing worse. There's nothing else that makes you just want to vomit so much harder than a fat bitch in yoga pants with no ass.
It's we don't want to talk about that. This is Tardo McGee has a great summary of the whole situation. There he says, This virus is discriminating against my body. That's grounds for burning down my nearest Wendy's.
Yep. Makes sense, Tardo.
Because that's exactly what it is. They're using the disproportionate deaths of black people, which we already know was linked to the obesity because black people are more obese because of the Walgreens issue.
Because
no
of
healthy food in my area.
the no healthy food in their area.
Do you see how the whole picture is coming together now? This is why we have to talk about this kind of stuff because most people won't make those connections. Like the Walgreens thing happening is directly related to the racism thing, which is directly related to the COVID thing,
which is directly related to the health thing
and the health. It's all connected.
It's all connected to white supremacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, it's all like
people are going to blame the riots. Well, they're going to say they're rioting, they're burning down the Wendy's because of the racism, and they're going to say it because of the racism because someone on the news told them that our health professionals are racist because more black people are dying.
Yep.
When in reality they're dying because they're obese. Yeah, it's perfect
well,
summary.
they're dying because they're obese, and they're dying because they're shooting and killing each other. So.
Whoa, wait, whoa. No, we don't want to talk about that.
Sorry, my bad.
Even though I think I just read a statistic that came out, most people think that white people are the mass shooters, like the most mass shooters, but I think 80% of the mass shooters in the last year have been blacks. Because the mass shooters that we hear about in the news are the flashy ones, the story ones, right? Where it's like, some guy yells Allah Akbar and then shoots up a bunch of people, or a white guy, mows people down in a truck and then gets out and shoots people or whatever. You don't hear about the ones that are technically classified as mass shootings, like the gang violence, where a guy gets out of a car and just shoots like.
Or they do a
6 people.
drive-by and they kill 4 or 5
That's
people.
happening every day.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Oh,
And those
pretty
people,
much every day.
And those people aren't held accountable at all.
Mass shootings happen every day, and they're mostly black people. But nobody wants. We don't want to talk about that. I'm sure there's some kind of systemic racism in there. That's the reason for that. If they don't have any actual agency. They're not controlling their own finger when they pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It's the years and years of racism in the past.
It's
making
the white
them,
supremacists that's like holding the gun to their head. That's making them kill their.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
In every instance of black mass shooters, there's a white guy holding a gun to his head.
Yep. There's a white guy saying, "You better go kill those, those N-words. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you."
That's what it is.
They have no control over their own actions. At least that's what we think.
That's a good point.
That's what we've been taught, at least.
All right, we got a pop quiz for you guys.
Okay, I love pop quizzes.
Pop quiz to see how well you follow the messaging of the alt-centrism here.
Okay.
And there's no right or wrong answer, but I'm just trying to get a measure here of how well I'm educating my followers, how closely I'm looking for potential cult initiates. That's what I'm looking for. Okay.
Yeah, we want.
So your response is dependent, or your initiation into the cult is dependent on your response.
We also just Kegel Destroyer just joined the chat. Welcome, Kegel Destroyer.
Yeah, what's up?
What's
Kegel
up?
Destroyer.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Okay, guys, ready? Here we go. This is a test. So tell me, this story about. So this is Steve Scalise. He tweeted out. Every single American should be outraged, in all caps, by this.
When he capitalizes, that means it's yelling.
Dead serious. So he wants you to be outraged.
Yeah, okay.
Democrats just voted to ban voter ID nationwide and force every state to permanently expand mail-in voting.
Okay. Well, not outraged.
So
I'm not surprised.
You should be outraged by this. Democrats just voted to ban voter ID nationwide and force every state to permanently expand mail-in voting. Now, I don't know if that's true, but let's assume that it is.
Okay.
So let's assume that it is.
Put that thought cap on of if this is possible, what are the outcomes?
This is a critical thinking exercise. So we're in the gym now, but it's a mental gym.
Okay.
We're lifting mental weights.
Okay.
Do you? Well, if that's exercise you prefer, that's fine.
Just kidding.
Democrats just voted to ban voter ID nationwide and force every single state to permanently expand mail-in voting. Pop quiz is: do you care or are you concerned about this? Yes or no? That's the pop quiz. Does this matter?
No.
Yes or no?
I mean, yes, but no. Yes, it does matter.
That's a cop-out. Come on. You have to have an actual
answer. Yes, it does matter because we saw what happened with the mail-in voting system with this last election. And I, for one, do not want to expand that because of all of the mismanagement that happened with it. But at the same time, I'm not surprised. I think I'm just not surprised or shocked at any of this because...
Well, that's not the pop quiz. The pop quiz is, does it matter?
Oh, it
say,
definitely
let's say
matters.
let's say that they are going to ban voter ID nationwide. That's huge.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And permanently expand mail-in voting.
that is big. Yeah.
Does that matter?
Yeah, I guess. Short answer, yes.
Okay.
To me, I guess.
Okay, we got a hell yes in chat. We got no. Holly says no. Anthony says yes. Phil C says don't care because the fix is forever in.
Yeah, that's the kind of point I was trying to make. Like, yes, it does matter, but at this point, like, it's all been fortified and just.
So you're halfway there.
Yeah.
Okay, JC says yes. Dari says it does matter. Okay, so all right. If it's true, no, elections are fortified every time regardless. Tardo. Okay, so Tardo and Phil C are the closest to the alt-centrist philosophy.
Just doesn't matter.
They have that. There's, like I said, it's not a right or wrong answer, but the closest to the headspace that you should be in when you approach all politics and culture issues these days is one of prioritizing decentralization. The first part of that is acknowledging that exactly what Phil and Tardo said. The elections are fixed regardless.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't in the grand scheme of things.
The level of integrity of the elections we're at was already at zero. So this is kind of like the saying, I could not care less, which most people say incorrectly.
They say that in,
They say I could care less. That means your caring is not at zero. At this point, the integrity of the election was already at zero.
Now we're like negative.
You can't you can't really get negative.
Yeah, that's
But,
true.
if you could, this would punch it into the negative, and that's why this doesn't matter. Because if we at a technical level, that's why it doesn't matter. At a philosophical level, you should not be emotionally invested in the American election system at all anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
To be emotionally invested in the American election system implies that you are dependent on the outcome of the election system,
Yeah.
which means
You
that
care too much.
you're more in the direction of where the mainstream media wants you. The mainstream media wants you caring and attached to every political issue that happens emotionally.
Yep, they want
that
you
you
on
care
that IV.
You care about the outcomes. You care about the fact that we're gonna get voter fraud and all this stuff. Yeah, no, we're definitely gonna get voter fraud.
Yeah.
Which is you've already seen it happen.
Yep,
You've seen it happen in 2020. But I'm not saying it was fraud. I'm just saying there was some fishy stuff going on.
there was definitely.
I mean, they admitted to fortifying. Like Tardo said, they fortified it.
They definitely
Do
did.
you think they're not going to fortify it in 2024?
Oh,
Do you think the fortification is going to get better or worse?
Oh, it's gonna get so much better. They're just gonna they learned they did it so well. They're gonna just do it again and just do better and like not get caught.
Well,
this time.
when you consider that, I'm sure they tried to fortify 2016 too.
Oh yeah, they did.
They just didn't fortify it enough.
They didn't. Well,
They got it down in 2020.
They definitely did.
And but the point is, your life and your family's outcome and your outcome is completely independent of whoever gets in office and the political system. Your energy and your mental energy should be focused entirely on things that are not voter ID and election system and stuff like that. You should be focusing on yourself, your family, decentralizing from this system. You should be divesting from this system.
Yep.
Not invested, not investing in it. You should be divesting, removing yourself, removing all emphasis that it has on your life. And that is what I mean when I say that Tardo and Phil were both closest to the alt-centrist philosophy, because that's what alt-centrists do.
David
we
H.
decentralize.
David H. says in the chat, I only care that we have a person of color for our VP. Hashtag girl power. Not only is she a person of color, but she's also a woman. So it's like just double intersectionality points for Biden's camp.
Yep.
Even though she called Biden a racist during the primaries.
So Simon says, yes, or we should just give up. So give up is not the response is not a binary yes or give up. The response is yes, I care, or I don't care about that system anymore. And that's kind of what we're trying to say here, is that all this stuff, we don't cover this news to be like, oh my God, look at what the Democrats are doing. Look at hypocrisy, double standards.
It's just,
no.
We're showing you, it's like, this is why you shouldn't care.
We're showing you the underlying philosophy, the underlying psychology of all these ideas to get you to realize that you should not be invested in this system.
Yeah, it's stupid.
You need to detach, and that part, the part of that is the emotional health of people.
Yeah.
People read this Like that tweet about Democrats just banned voter ID and
Oh,
forced
they
everybody
have
to-
meltdowns.
people on the right, conservatives,
Mm-hmm.
normally logical people, normally rational, melted down over that. You can see it now. If you go
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on Fox News, I'm sure they were melting down about it.
Oh, they're having meltdowns for sure.
If you're ever in a state where you realize that you're having some kind of emotional reaction to something you read on Twitter, on media, on whatever it is, that should be a signal to you to like, whoa, back off. Like
Yeah.
you should not. That means that you're reacting exactly how they want you to react.
Yeah.
Divest from them. All of your energy should be going into yourself, your family, and your own personal advancement. Don't look at the big picture stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Holly in chat says, I have a vested interest in American elections due to the fact that we follow suit. I watched to take a peek into my future. And for people who don't know, Holly's our local Canadian. So, yes, I get for where she's coming from because she wants to see. It's just like how America looks to Great Britain to see like what's the next trend when it comes to like social or just political shit. We always like kind of look at Britain to see what the next wave is. And I see what she's doing. It's like I only care because I want to like kind of know what might be coming.
Well,
to
that's
my
kind of
country.
exactly why we cover this stuff too, because alt-centrism, the other term for alt-centrist is objective observer. We're objectively observing what's happening, but we're not participating in the system.
Yep.
We don't participate in the political game. We're standing outside of the system,
Yep.
observing it, so that we can suit our own needs based on what's happening over here. So yes, it does have value to observe what's happening, as Holly mentions, but to be involved in it, especially involved at an emotional level, that's
Yeah, don't
not,
involve your emotions in politics.
that's not where you should be. And it's not as easy as just saying don't involve your emotions, but you have to kind of change your whole perspective on.
It's hard. It's not an easy thing.
Uh,
Well, JC in chat says, when your taxes keep raising, it becomes everyone's problem. Can't escape the system. You can't escape it, that's true, but you can get yourself as far away from it and remove yourself as far away from it as you possibly can. Like, that's the goal. Like,
can move to Puerto Rico.
yeah, I was going to say, you can move to Puerto Rico or move to Alaska. Just live out in the
There-
middle of the tundra.
The point is there are already a lot of parallel societies that exist even within America. And Puerto Rico would be a good example of that. That's a parallel society where taxes are a lot lower. And you could live there if you don't want to pay as much taxes.
But you're going to be living in Puerto Rico, which there's nice parts of it, but then
Right.
there's also like little shitholes.
But really, if you think about it, the changes that happen at that level, like the executive office, congressional, Senate level stuff, how often does that really actually affect you? Once you realize the answer to that is pretty much very tiny,
Yeah, you're just like, oh, why did I invest so much into this?
it's what I'm playing with a new idea. I was actually just thinking about this in the car on the way home today. I'm thinking about trying to name it something like the energy impact inversion, where society's inverted right now, where everyone's spending all their mental energy thinking about things that are impacting their lives to a very minimal degree. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all this political stuff, Donald Trump elections, all this stuff has very little actual impact on your day-to-day life, but that's what you're spending all your energy on.
Yep.
That's the exact opposite of where you should be. And the point of this channel is to try to make you aware that if you are in that state where you are having emotional reactions to this kind of stuff, that means you are reacting exactly like they want you to. You're basically, you're still in the game. You're still in their pen. So
Yeah, Holly says, as an emotional woman type, I don't get emotional over shit like politics. Says a lot. Good for you, Holly. At least you're not getting involved. Yeah, it's rare. At least you're not like me. I get all emotional, hyped up, but that's just me.
So
I'm also like to be a little butt too. So
well, you can't help it. It's okay.
yeah, I can't help it.
Our next story brings us back to the border.
Okay.
Now, you may have heard there's been increasing border news lately.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of migrant children coming across. Biden had to reopen the kids in cages.
The detention centers.
Biden had to put more kids in cages.
Yeah.
And we talked about many times on this show previously about how I think just last week we went over the top issues for conservatives, and at the top of their list was illegal immigration.
Yes.
And one of the as part of our critical thinking exercises, we did the what would you expect to see exercise, which is where you take a concept like illegal immigration being the number one issue on the Republicans' list. You say to yourself, what would you expect to see in a reality where immigration
illegal immigration, it deserves like some thought process.
Deserves the number one spot on your list of concerns. This is exactly the kind of stuff that you would expect to see. So when I lived in Arizona, I used to hear this kind of stuff happen almost on a weekly basis sometimes. And this is another article from Zero Hedge. 13 killed in California crash allegedly entered U.S. illegally via border fence hole.
Oh, wow. Damn.
That's right. So I told you stories about when I was living in Arizona. I heard stories in the news about trucks full of illegals getting, smashed into car accidents and a bunch of people dying.
Yeah.
Houses where the coyotes store Mexicans and like 100 people in a house while they get transported from point A to point B, stuff
There's
like that.
all kinds of stuff going on like that.
Nobody wants to acknowledge the reality of that, but this is exactly the kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials said they believe the victims killed in the collision in Southern California, just miles from the border, were illegal immigrants who were smuggled through a dilapidated border fence near Calexico. Hey, there was 24 people in a Ford Expedition.
Oh, wow.
24 people. So when
Holy
I
shit.
told you the story of people being jammed into cars, like clown cars, now you know I wasn't kidding.
No, you're not kidding.
This is the kind of stuff that
I
happens
think
all
the
the
max
time.
capacity for a Ford Expedition is like 8 people max.
Yeah.
So they had people in the trunk, and they probably had people laying on the floors and sitting on laps.
Every square
And they probably
inch.
all weren't wearing seatbelts either.
Every
so.
square inch of that. No, well, you don't have 24 seatbelts.
Yeah, you can't all have seatbelts. So no wonder 13 people died.
Yep. 13 dead and more injured. And this is like the worst that you can get. It looks like a dump truck smashed T-bone this thing.
Dump truck or like a big tow truck that tows diesel vehicles and stuff.
So just remember, this is the kind of stuff that the leftists are endorsing when they say, yeah, we want open borders. This is exactly the kind of stuff that they love to see, because this is the result of illegal immigration. People come across in dilapidated border holes.
Yep.
We don't have the walls in place to stop people from doing this. So what happens? They jam 24 in a car.
Yep, and then just burn through the hole, and then get T-boned, and people die. And I believe that there's like police officers there's like a term for people who have died because of illegal immigrants. I think they're like called
Well, they call them the mothers of the people that died.
mothers
Angel
of the people.
moms.
Yeah, they call them mothers of people who died from illegal aliens, angel moms, and. Yeah, it's like this shit keeps happening. And I just saw a story of, well, not a story, but there's this reporter that I follow. He's like covers all kinds of stuff going on the border. And they found like a little cave system on the border. And they went into that little cave system, and they found all kinds of like trash and clothes and like used condoms and like because people were living in these caves while they wait for the sun to go down. And then at night they cross the border. And it's just all kinds of just nastiness on the borders. Like, people don't even realize what's going on with the border situation
No, people
right
have
now.
no idea. There's a media blackout. And even in the blackout, we still see stories like this. So remember that. We're in a media blackout for negative border stories, okay? You might see something here and there on Fox News, but that's about it. Everything else, straight blackout. So you heard about they projected an insane number of unaccompanied children coming across the border this year. We were already coming off of record numbers from the previous months, where we talked about it's 170 per day.
Yes.
170 unaccompanied children.
Unaccompanied children.
Just children.
Yeah, that's not even including the adults that they are being found with, because you know that they are in large groups of people, and that's why we have to separate them from the people that they're caught with, because a lot of the time, it's like 30% of the time, the people that they get picked up by Border Patrol are not biologically related to them. They just claim to be parents or aunts or uncles or cousins or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. Even after all this, the leftists are still are advocating for no cages when they don't understand the purpose of the cages.
Yeah, and they're not even really cages anymore.
Which means that they really actually don't care about the kids.
They don't care.
If you did care about the kids, you would want them to go in a cage for a little bit while you try to figure out if the person that they're coming across with is a child trafficker.
Yeah.
Or their actual parents.
While they try to figure out like what's going on, like is this child kidnapped by a child trafficker and being held at ransom on the other side of the border from the parents until the parents can come up with $10,000 and find a way to cross the border to get their kids back? Like, this is the shit that's going on in Mexico. Like, they're kidnapping kids from Central and South America and using these kids as pawns to get across the border illegally. And they're not only just using them as pawns, they're selling them. They're selling them like freaking slaves. They're selling them for sex. They're selling them for labor.
No, it's a market. It's a whole
industry.
industry.
It's a whole industry that the cartel is has been profiting off of for years and decades. And they're not only just smuggling humans, they're smuggling drugs, and they're also smuggling weapons.
Oh yeah, lots of guns going.
Lots of guns going
border.
across the border, and lots of drugs. All the fentanyl and all the cocaine that's being manufactured in Central and South America. Guess where it's being funneled through our border.
We have record levels of meth coming across the border right now, where it's so cheap. People walking around with like 3-pound bags.
Well, yeah, and if you get busted with it on you, you don't go to jail.
That's the thing. I recommend people watch. There's a Vice is trash these days for the most part, but Vice did a 20-minute short on meth in Fresno, which is just a short distance from here.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's like a couple-hour drive.
And they interview actual criminals because they can show their meth on camera and they don't have any fear of being arrested because that's the state of California.
Yeah, all they do is they wear a mask and they hide their voices too.
No, not even do that.
They don't even hide their faces anymore?
Nope.
Wow.
The guy has zero fear of pulling out a bag of meth and saying, yeah, this used to be full, about 3 pounds of meth, and I just sold it all to those guys right there. And he's happy. And he says the cops, they'll walk up to him and they won't even ticket him. They'll just, they'll cite him and then they'll just drive off. They won't even take the meth.
Yeah. Yeah, Holly says the kidnapped and trafficked kids. Now that makes me emotional. It makes me emotional too, Holly. Like, just because even though I don't have any biological children for myself, I still love and respect and honor and cherish children. And when I found out that that's why Trump was for the wall, I totally jumped on board, because once you find out the truth, it's like, oh, okay, and a simple solution is to just build a physical barrier to make it. We're not going to say like the wall's going to stop at 100%, but having a physical barrier there makes it.
You have to disincentivize people coming from 2,000 miles down in Mexico.
If they know there's a big ass 60-foot wall in their way from crossing illegally, they're not going to come. Or they're going to like do it the right way and come the legal way.
The left doesn't understand incentives either, so they wouldn't understand the value of a wall anyway. But yeah, this is the thing. They pretend to care about kids. They pretend to care about guns. They pretend to care about drug issues. They pretend to care about human rights. But yet there's a media blackout on all the border issues. Now, knowing that, we know the truth. I mean, I've literally been seeing stories just like this. Car full of illegals gets rolled over for probably around 20 years, because I was living in Arizona for most of my life since I was really young, and you only hear this on the local news. You don't hear it on Fox.
No.
Okay, you hear the really bad ones on Fox, like this one probably made Fox. But when a car rolls over and only 5 people die, it doesn't make national news. But you hear it on local news. 20 years this has been going on, at least, and that's just since I've been conscious enough to be able to understand and read the news. So
well, and even here locally in California, in Northern California, like a few years ago, there's the Kate Steinle case where a young woman, Kate Steinle, was killed in San Francisco by an illegal immigrant, and he had an illegal gun. Now people are coming out and saying, well, he didn't know that, he didn't understand that the gun was loaded. He was just,
Oh no, they'll go to any lengths.
I know they go to any
defend
lengths to cover these people. When it's like, if that dude was not here because he shouldn't have been here, then Kate Steinle would probably still be alive.
The reason I go through all that and tell you the backstory of how I've heard these on the news for 20 years is because I reference back to those lists of the top issues on the left and right. The top issue on the left was Trump supporters. The top issue on the right was illegal immigration. And that is now, again, you have to ask the question, which one of those lists seems more realistic? Especially when you understand that there's so many perspectives and angles on the illegal immigration thing. Like we talked about drugs, guns, kids, people, murders, people dying in crashes, human rights violations, you name it. Every issue is present in the illegal immigration thing, but media blackout.
Yeah. Mitch says, I was never for the wall. I always just said to use landmines. Few people would blow up, but then people would be shit scared to cross. I mean, Mitch, that's a great suggestion,
well, you know what?
But as far as human rights violations, we'll see how that scales, I guess.
Honestly, the landmines would probably save more lives.
It definitely would.
They would save more lives than they would kill, than they would cost, because he's exactly right. The landmine is a very strong incentive
Oh yeah.
to not go across the
And
border.
you put up signs, in Spanish on the Mexico side that says like, "Do not cross landmines."
But you know what the fascinating thing about that is?
Peligroso, like don't cross.
You know what the fascinating thing about that is? They would find ways to adapt that. They would like
Oh.
send donkeys across
Yeah.
to make them clear the mines.
They would do like what they did with Game of Thrones in the night episode where all the White Walkers just like make a path of make a path over the fire to get across the fire.
No, they would
They
adapt.
just sacrificed like a bunch of their dead army to.
They would work that hard to come to a country that's racist.
I know,
That's a chin scratcher,
right?
They work that hard. They risk death. They get They get smashed into a car with 24 people. I don't even know how that's physically possible.
Dari's trying to play the devil's advocate. Says innocents would die. Yeah, exactly. Got to sacrifice a couple eggs in order to make some omelets, yo.
Yeah, there's no fallacy perfection, friend. That's fallacy perfection right there.
Mitch Connor 2024. Mitch, you should run on that. Run on landmines on the border. See how far you get.
This is great. This is the kind of conversation that really needs to be reaching a large scale here. And we're having, this is dead serious.
This is a good conversation, you guys. Like, we need to get this message out because too many people think like, oh, we just need to have open borders because America is a land of immigrants. No, that's.
Oh, we didn't even talk about how they have COVID either.
Oh yeah, they're like.
There's another angle on it. So when I say
they're getting arrested, and then if they get positive for COVID, they get freaking housed for the 2 weeks for the, what is it?
well, no, in Texas they just let them go.
Yeah.
They let confirmed positive illegal
People just
immigrants go in Texas.
slap on the wrist, citation, come back in 3 months.
Unbelievable.
I know it's.
So when I say the illegal immigration thing literally has every angle in it, it has literally every angle in it.
It does.
Kids, guns, drugs, COVID, human rights violations.
Yep. Cartels.
Minimum wage because it's blowing apart the wages of low income earners in
Yep.
America.
And then but Joe Biden wants to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour.
It's an all-in-one. I mean, you just band-aids on band-aids, folks. That's what we're doing right now in America. And guess who's coming for us?
China.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
No, you guessed it exactly correct.
China and Russia.
Not Russia. Russia's kind of...
Russia doesn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, I don't think Russia ever really cared. I
Yeah.
mean, they really actually... I mean, they won the World War II, really. Russia... I was thinking about it. I think Russia really did win World War II.
Russia did, yeah.
I mean, we have communism in America now. That's a victory for Russia, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, they wanted that. Stalking Horse says, they're rapist. They're COVID positive. Donald Trump, probably. Probably. I love how you put the probably there. Because that is what the leftist media would say. He probably said it or he thought it. So we're going to just say that that's true.
No, all you have to do, you can say anything you want. You can attribute anyone saying anything that you want as long as you just say that it was reported. Delaney reportedly said that she wants to use landmines and illegal immigrants.
I didn't reportedly say that.
It was reported.
Yeah.
It was reported. That's how you can get around that. Easy way to get around that. Let's jump over to another thought-provoking story.
Okay. International.
Zooming us out. Okay, so, let's zoom out mentally here to the globe. Think about Mumbai over in India.
Okay.
Last year, India suffered a massive power outage in Mumbai.
Okay.
Only now, in March of 2021, the minister of Mumbai says the power outage could have been a cyber attack from China.
Oh, China. Sounds about right.
From Reuters.
That's their competition right there on their continent.
A power failure that crippled India's financial capital of Mumbai in western Maharashtra state last year. Pretty close. I mean, not bad.
You're getting there. Work on your Indian a little bit.
Let me know how that.
I was going to say, where's Aryan when you need him?
Here today,
Yeah.
Could have been the case of a cyber sabotage, a local minister said on Monday, as China denied a report that it was behind the outage. Mumbai police were investigating further after a preliminary report pointed to possible evidence of 14 Trojan horse programs incorporated in the city's power system. Said another guy's name that I can't pronounce.
Yeah. Just call him Abu Dhabi. I'm just kidding.
That's not the right
I was
state.
like, that's not the right one.
Not
I know
the right
it's
country.
not.
This guy was speaking a day after the New York Times report said that the power outage on October 12th last year was part of a Chinese cyber campaign against India, even as the two countries were locked in a fierce border battle. So this is another thing where it's a blackout. there's been conflict ongoing between India and China for a while now.
Yes.
They recently released a video of a conflict on the border between India and China. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I do recommend ducking it. DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, don't use Google.
Not Googling it, ducking it. Duck India versus, or was it Pakistan? Maybe I got it wrong. I think maybe it's Pakistan.
It might be, because I know that India has been just kind of facing it on all fronts, honestly.
Anyway, China was fighting somebody on the border. There's a lot of tensions at the border, and they mentioned that here in the article, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. The Chinese embassy spokesperson denied the allegations in the New York Times report in response to the request for comment from Reuters. Shocker.
Yeah, shocker.
Speculation and fabrication have no role to play on the issue of cyber attacks. Highly irresponsible to accuse a particular party with no sufficient evidence around. Well said.
I mean, yeah.
That's what the Chinese embassy said.
Well, of course they're going to say that.
That's the beauty of cyber attacks, is that,
You
again,
can make it look like somebody else.
again, folks, cybersecurity is magic, okay? And I like this article because this is my wheelhouse. So I do cybersecurity for a living. Millions were left without power, trains were stranded, and online college exams and mobile telephone services collapsed after a grid failure that affected all of Mumbai and lasted for more than 12 hours in some parts of the city. So when you're thinking to yourself, oh, what's the big deal? It's just a power outage, you know, whatever. People can use flashlights and candles and stuff like that. No, we're talking about millions
Yeah.
being left without power.
I was going to say Mumbai is probably a pretty dense city.
Like in California here, we're used to, you know, maybe 60,000 people lose power because PG&E is inept.
Yep.
But we're talking about millions in one of the economic capitals of India.
Yeah.
Left without power. Trains stranded. Trains are like the main form of long distance travel in
Yeah.
India because nobody has cars. They use bikes or trains. People were stranded. Phones weren't working. Grid failures. It's equivalent in economic destruction levels to an actual physical attack.
Yeah, a little
Maybe
bit.
not, it's not a huge scale physical attack, but a lot of economic damage.
There weren't any troops on the ground, but the damage that it did to the people would be almost as equivalent to troops on the ground just like going through.
Now, I got it right. Yeah. So at the bottom of the article, it says relations between nuclear-armed neighbors China and India soured last June when 20 Indian and 4 Chinese soldiers were killed in a Himalayan border fight.
Yeah.
So that's what I was referring to. I was referring to the border fight, and it was India. I thought maybe it was Pakistan.
I was gonna say,
But
I know India.
Look up
and
the video of
China.
that. They just released a video of that. They've been sitting on the video for a while, but there's video of Indian troops and Chinese troops like engaging. It looks like a movie actually because they're in this crazy ravine of just like a crazy deep canyon. And there's a river, and they cross the river, and they're fighting each other and stuff. It's pretty wild. But you might be asking,
Turdo says, no wonder I couldn't reach tech support during that time. All the call
Yes.
centers were out.
all call centers were definitely down during that time. The reason I bring this up is because China is definitely going to be using cyber attacks on other people.
Yes.
Now, if you wanted to test out your capabilities as far as cyber attacks go, or these new Trojans that they had developed, for example, you would test it on small scale first, and then work your way up. Mumbai is definitely not small scale, but if you're in a situation where you have a constant conflict with this country, the people in the article were right. Maybe this is just China sending a signal, firing a shot over the bow,
A little bit like
saying, "Hey,
a warning
calm down."
shot.
Yeah, just calm down.
Instead of sending a troop of like a battalion to the border, they just fired a warning shot via cyber security attack.
So here's the variables. Let me give you my cybersecurity perspective on this. We know that they found 14 Trojans in the system. So we know that this was an attack of some kind. Generally, an attack that's complicated and complex enough to get into what's referred to as a SCADA system, which is generally what runs most of the utilities like hydroelectric, electric, stuff like that. That's a highly more complex. It doesn't run off of Windows. It runs off of proprietary operating systems that are probably very old and very hard to get into because a lot of times they're air gapped, not even accessible via the internet. So it's a complex attack. And that lends itself to being a state actor. It's not some random Louis
It's
that's sitting in a a trash hut somewhere in India with a laptop cooking up some hacks. You know what I mean? This
is like somebody that's been like, would you say like funded by the state to do this?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it would indicate, is somebody who either has state funding, a state funded outlet, or a state itself.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you look at Russia that does cyber attacks, they're not state sponsored because it's not Russia doing the hacks, but Russia government will fund the hacker groups who then do the attacks.
Okay.
So it's not Russia doing the attack.
It's the Russian people
But
with the money and the resources from their government.
It is Russia doing the attack. Like Russia funded it. It wasn't Russia doing it. In this case, China has actual divisions of their army that are dedicated to hacking.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't surprise me that they have that.
when you're trying to figure out who did this attack, so you look at what's called you do a process that's called attribution. So they mentioned 14 Trojan horse programs here. So when you have a piece of malware on your system, you can then kind of reverse engineer it and then figure out where it came from based on not only how it's made, but also who has been seen using that program previously in the past. So you can know, it's kind of like, China has this type of tank. Russia has this type of tank. If it's a Panzer tank, it's from Germany. If it's a Tiger, it's from Russia.
So you can trace it by who manufactured it.
Pretty much,
a little bit.
Pretty much, yeah. Now it's a little trickier with the
with the computer and all the techno stuff.
If it's the first time that it's ever been seen, then it may be more difficult to attribute it to China. But I mean, I'm sure India, they have a lot of highly technical experts with this stuff. I trust their attribution in
I was gonna say
calling it China.
I would say China is definitely like probably the biggest culprit of this, because we know for a fact that they're training their young minds to go into science, technology, mathematics, and all of these and engineering. So of course they're training their kids and their young adults to become hackers, to be able to, as Holly says, doing that is a way easier border to cross and a lot less physical resistance than what I was talking about, like if they actually sent physical troops to the border to invade, to do something.
Well, that's exactly why I brought this article up, because nobody here really cares about India. Okay, I don't care about India. You don't care about India.
I don't.
I'm not bringing this up to say, oh my God, look at India.
Poor India.
I'm bringing this up to say, look at what China can do with their cyber attacks. They can get into the power grid. Now, combine that with somebody in chat said, Phil B. Do we have a Phil C and a Phil B?
We got a lot of Phils.
Phil B says, the thought of cyber attacks on water treatment facilities keeps me up at night. Well, guess what? I don't know if you heard, but Florida just had one of its water treatment facilities hacked.
No way.
Like 3 weeks ago. I think we talked about it here, but
Oops.
or maybe we didn't. I don't know. But they had so somebody got into the water treatment system and actually was able to control one of the systems that puts the chemicals into the water, because they put a certain balance of chemicals in the water, like fluoride or whatever, to make the frogs gay, and he got into the system that put way more of this chemical in the water.
Oh no!
Luckily, he got caught by one of the staff right before it happened.
They need to hire you to protect them.
He had access to. Somebody was able to remotely change the level of chemicals that were in the public drinking water supply.
Wow, that's scary.
And this was just one random Louis, not a state actor, not
Yeah.
China, not Russia, just a random guy. So imagine, I'm trying to paint a picture for you guys. That imagine what China can do. Okay, it does require some imagination, but this is a good canary in the coal mine for what could happen in America if some kind of conflict were to rise. You're exactly right. They wouldn't have to put one troop, one tank, one airplane in the sky.
Yep. No drones.
They wouldn't even have to leave their chair, and they could shut down the entire country.
Yep, they could shut down the entire, like, if they can shut down Mumbai, which they said is one of the biggest economic hubs, they can shut down an economic hub for India. And mind you, India has what, like 1 billion people, I think now?
Huge.
They're huge. If they're able to just do that in the somebody have like state actors just do that in the comfort of their own home and shut down an entire economic epicenter in one of the largest like population in like rich countries in the world. China's dangerous.
Well, also
y'all.
consider the fact that all of our electronics are made in China.
And a lot of them are made in India too.
All of our computers, everything that they send us, these phones, the smartphone was probably manufactured in China.
Yeah.
So I don't know apps that we use. TikTok was Chinese or what?
Yeah,
what
TikTok is Chinese.
TikTok was Chinese. So every phone that has TikTok on it basically has a backdoor for China to access. They're gathering your data. They can push out an update.
Yep.
If China went into war mode, like full out war mode, if they declared war, if there was an actual declaration of war, they could instantly turn every phone that has their apps on it into a weapon.
Yeah, they could.
They could push out an update, and as soon as that update gets into your phone, it's compromised.
Beep-a-dee-beep-dee, psh.
Because that app is trusted. TikTok is trusted because it's on the App Store, it's on the iPhone Store, whatever. So if they push out an update that has a malicious code in it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They instantly have 80 billion access points into all the networks that anyone brings their phone onto. So if somebody has TikTok on their phone and then they go to work at Google, they can get access into their networks. They have an entry into their networks. If if somebody has TikTok on their phone and they go to work at Facebook, Amazon, you name it, you get the point.
Yep.
If there was a declaration of war, they would roll us overnight.
Yeah, but it would just, and then the media would be here saying, as Holly says, it's just cultural differences. Good joke, Holly. That was a good joke.
Yep.
Oh, man. Oceanic cultural differences, great white, quote unquote, sharks, racist. What about other sharks? Man, don't even bring up the other sharks. Man, don't even bring them up.
Region Zen says, just wait until China hits Taiwan. Yes, that's a great point. People were saying that as soon as China takes out Taiwan, that's it. China is the superpower.
A little bit, yeah.
There's no more question about it.
Because Taiwan is giving them a run for their money for being such a small country.
I wonder how Beijing Biden will respond. Yeah, good question, Region Zen. I don't think Beijing Biden will care.
Beijing Biden will just say that, just welcome them with open arms and be like, yeah, bring on more TikTok.
As they steal all of our intellectual property and sell our own products back to us, which is literally what they're doing. They'll steal the blueprints to a windmill, like a wind generator, steal it, manufacture it in China, and then sell it back to us.
Right?
That's literally happening right now. They're doing that. You know, they're probably already in our grid. So not to scare you guys too much, but they are probably already in all these systems. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to take action.
Yeah, they're just kind of like biding their time and letting us eat ourselves,
they
honestly.
are absolutely in our systems, in our infrastructure.
I think
absolutely.
I think they're
100%.
just biding their time and waiting for us to collapse ourselves, and then like just as a last ditch effort, be like, okay, now we'll just blow up the rest of the phones. It'll be all good.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Not to end it on a scary note there for you guys, but that's the reality of the situation. So again, another great argument for going off grid.
Yeah.
Building your own little homestead, leaving the cities, decentralization, divest from the system, divest from the society, or if you want to just move to Bali or something like that, that's also a valid option.
Yeah, Bali's pretty great.
The point that I'm making is that kind of we're in the sunsetting of this nation, I think. And,
A little bit. R.I.P. USA.
And I want to try to get you guys to where I am, which is a state of pure bliss. I'm completely at peace. I have no anxiety, even as I read this stuff to you guys. And I understand.
You're not worried.
And I understand better than anyone the implications of these Chinese cyber attacks and stuff. I have no anxiety. I have no fear. I have no worry. I have nothing because I'm not. I can survive. I can make it. I know that I can do it. I'm self-sufficient. I'm divesting from this system.
Well, if anything, you should just convince the United States government to hire you to protect our water resources.
Oh, there's a lot of money there.
I was gonna say, man, if
Government contractors.
government contracts to protect our water, be the hacker to protect our water resources, dude.
And then I get to be the guy that they send a helicopter for when the stuff goes down. They're like, oh, we need
Jeremy. Get him on the helicopter, stat.
Send out the helicopters.
Yep, send out Marine One for Jeremy. That'd be hella sick though.
Dari with a great comment says, divest mentally from the BS overload pumped at us on the daily. Yes,
I agree. Yeah.
That's exactly the point, my friend. Just be prepared to obey your new Chinese overlords. Yeah. Well, if they can find me in the mountains, or I might actually, maybe I'll be on China's side. If you look at what they're doing, I mean, yeah, they got human rights violations here or there, but so do we. And I don't know if you've seen okay, everyone has a homework assignment. This is the homework assignment.
Okay.
Watch this documentary called The New Silk Road.
I watched that. I did.
fascinating. China, if you have any doubts in your mind that China is going to dominate everyone in like 20 years anyway, watch that and then you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
it makes sense now.
It's already over.
Yeah, it's already happening. Like,
it's
as
not
we speak.
happening.
It's already happened.
It's over. It's over.
Yep.
It's all over. So that's why that's where that peace comes from. It's like, I'm not going to try to save the country. I'm not Captain America. I'm not going to try to take over the Capitol. I'm not going to try to unveil all these voter fraud allegations and hope to recover the election system. I'm not going to try to take back all the educational institutions. I'm not going to fight back against big tech. I'm not going to, no.
Start your own town, folks. That's what you got to do.
I'm completely at peace because I've got my own thing, my own mission, my own life, and none of that really matters to me. And hopefully we'll get you guys all to that point too.
Holly says that she's going to head to Jeremytown. No,
Is Jeremytown
it's
a thing?
Jeremyville.
Jeremytown is a thing.
It's
and,
Jeremyville. Get it right.
if you guys think I'm joking, I am building a tiny house out of a 17-foot box truck right now, and this is going to be a crazy box. I just got 1.5 kilowatts of solar power on the roof.
Hell yeah.
That's a lot. So I'm doing like a van conversion, but it's not a van because those are lame. It's actually a box truck, and it's going to be like a studio apartment on wheels that I can live in long term. The plan is to buy land, use that to live in as I develop the land.
Hell yeah.
So that is the real thing that I'm doing. So
And
yes,
then
Jeremytown will be a thing.
And then sell it when you get tired of it, or build a new one, make
Yep.
a business out of it.
That's exactly it.
Yep. Do something with it. But yeah, he's got the plan, folks. He's
So,
the man. He's starting
yeah.
Jeremytown.
I'm not just talking. I'm taking action. If you guys are interested in following me, I do have a YouTube channel for the build. You can follow me. It's called Techno Barbarian. I'm actually going to be going into a lot of the decentralization philosophy over there, talking about how, I'm building it to be like a roaming preacher for decentralization, like Jesus with a truck going around preaching the good word gospel of decentralization.
Get the hell out of the cities, folks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Build your own tiny home like
so
me.
I'll be going over the philosophy and stuff there, but yeah, no, I'm dead serious. So
Yeah, I've been following his journey, and it's been pretty fascinating to watch. So I'm excited for him.
anyway, guys, if you do like the stream and the content, make sure to give it a like, thumbs up. If you're new here, you can subscribe. I'm sure you know how to do that. Hit the notification bell if you want to get us when we're live. If you're listening on the stream, on the podcasts, you can find us live here on youtube.com/weeklynarrative every Tuesday and Saturday at 7 p.m. And I think starting next Saturday, we'll do Stereo Saturdays.
Okay, Stereo Saturdays with Delaney.
Stereo Saturdays with Delaney, yeah, because stereo's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's very fun.
And maybe you guys, some of the viewers can get in on that too.
We would love to hear your guys' voices, because we get to see you guys with your chats all night long. But it's nice to like put a voice to the chat. So if you want to join us on there, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Follow us on the URL you see right here, weeklynarrative.locals.com. That's kind of like our own Discord channel, basically. That's online, so we can chat. I can post stuff, and we're not going to get banned from there. And I will be posting a link to the After Hours stream, the Inner Circle, which will start as soon as the stream ends. We're doing a private Inner Circle for those who are on the Locals page. You get an extra unknown number of hours of content, because we never know how long they go.
We never know.
Sometimes they go 1 hour, sometimes they go 3. We don't know.
Sometimes it's 30 minutes, depending on what kind of mood we're in.
That's where you guys can find more content if you want to. But that's it for us tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show.
We love you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Sleep tight.
We'll see you back here on Tuesday for another edition of the Weekly Narrative.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, if you're looking for the podcast is called The Alt Centrist.
Yes.
So go to Google, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, and search for The Alt Centrist. That's the name of our podcast.
Oh, Holly just said we are the favorite part of her week. Well, you're the favorite part of my week, Holly, not gonna lie.
Yeah, chat is my favorite part of the week,
Yeah, y'all are
actually.
great. We love you so much. You have no
And-
idea.
Yeah, I'm glad to know that I'm providing value to you guys, because if I wasn't providing value, I would feel bad.
Value and entertainment, and like
Exactly.
something good to look at too. So
There you go. All right, guys, we'll see you on Tuesday.
yep, Tuesday.
See you.
Night night.